Thank y'all for tapping like. Welcome to the live. My name is Brother Legend, and I'm here to raise your consciousness. What up, Timothy? Smoke, son of Alkebulan. As always, no isms, phobias. Keep it respectful. No arguments allowed, but there will be some lessons learned. This is a live for the people. You know what I'm saying? This is a live. Shout out to the people. Shout out to the people. Shout out to the people with humanity. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the humans. I say no too, eh? I say nah too, CC. Peace, Miss Lady. What do you mean by that tire? Is it tire? What do you mean by that? What do you mean which side they on? How does that let you know anything? What does it let you know? I'm curious to know. Would you mind coming up and explaining to the congregation what you mean by this? What's going on? Kenzie, give us your age, race, and pronouns.
Hello, I am 22. I'm multi-ethnic, and I'm a she. I'm multiracial.
There's no such thing as a multiracial person.
Okay, then I'm biracial.
Biracial is also not a race. It's a description. You could be biracial with any mixture of races. So that's not in itself a race.
Okay, I'm an Afro-Indigenous and white woman.
You can't be white if you have anything but white in you. So that's not how whiteness works. But we're just going to take confused as your race. So go ahead and talk to us.
Okay, but ethnically, I'm Afro-Indigenous and white.
You can't be ethnically white, but continue.
Okay.
Like there's Irish, there's Italian, there's white, quote unquote, white.
Okay, Northern European, we'll say.
That's not a race. Either way, we know you're trying to fit white in there somewhere, so we get it. She wants y'all to know she got a white parent, y'all. Go ahead.
Okay, multiracial wasn't good for you. Neither was biracial, so.
Neither of those are races. It's not good for me. I didn't invent the social hierarchy of race, but neither of those are races. So
Royal me, I'm West African. I don't want to be black. My ancestors were slaves. Anyways, happy Juneteenth.
she doesn't want to be black. Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. Like, why are you even up here?
Because I'm a black woman?
No, now you're black?
Yeah. You can be mixed with white and be black. I know so many black people that are Irish. Don't be funny with me.
Hey, yo, is she playing with me right now? I asked her race. She said, I'm multiracial, I'm biracial, I have a white mommy or daddy or whatever she trying to say. And then she gonna turn around and say, I know I'm black. Like, huh? Yo, you confusing me. Like, yo, that confusion shit is contagious. We gonna move on. I'm not doing this with y'all on Juneteenth. I'm not doing this today on Juneteenth. TikTok is hilarious. What is happening right there? I don't know what that was. Anyway, Sam Coleman, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
I'm 23. I'm black. And what else you say? I can't really hear you. I'm sorry.
Pronouns, she, her,
She,
he,
her.
him. Okay,
She, her.
talk to us.
I feel like no, because clearly Juneteenth says it within the whole definition of it's a freedom day. What other race had complications with having freedom their whole life? We had it. Like, I'm not taking it away from other races, but this day was made for us. So why do we have to share that day with another race when clearly it's all about us? I feel like I'm just, it's my question. What freedom did y'all have or struggle with, like, to the point where it's marked on the calendar? Why do we always have to share something? I feel like it's not fair. This is our one day where we don't have to share with anybody. I feel like it should stay like that. And if you feel offended, that means that you clearly have no knowledge to what Juneteenth is. It's not hidden, or it was never hidden. Like, why do we always have to share something with another race? I feel like it's just not fair. We always have to share something. Like, could it just be all about us? Like,
Mm,
what's the problem with something to being about us? What's the problem? Like,
mm.
but
Yeah, I hear
yeah,
you.
yeah, like it.
Um, mm, go ahead,
But
sister.
yeah, that's all I have to say. I see
Well,
my friend Dougie Rice up in here. He cool. He funny. But now, like, he be speaking true facts. Like, he really a speak true facts. Like, he taught us something. He taught me something yesterday when I heard him on a live speaking true facts, and I really agree with him. He cool. I like him.
could the brother she's talking about come on up and give us a word? I'm not sure who that was. What name did you say, sister?
I think his name is Dougie Rice or Dougie something.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
Uh, yeah, come
yes.
on up, brother. Come and talk to us. But yeah, I feel what you're saying. I feel like it's been nationalized, or they made it a national holiday as a way
Mhm.
to give us some sort of symbolic victory
Yeah.
while not improving the conditions in our communities or our people worldwide. Like um, the Emancipation Proclamation was signed to declare Black people have freedom. Meanwhile, today there are more people incarcerated than there ever was during the institution of slavery. So there's more people in prison now than there was slaves during slavery. So you know, kind of makes one scratch their head.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thank you for your input, sister, and I feel you 100%.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Let me go to the next guest. Jen, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please. Jen,
Hello?
you gotta unmute your mic, Jen.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry. Hello. Can you hear me
Hey,
now?
yes, give us your age, race, and
Okay.
pronouns, please.
Um, I am 34. I am white, and I am she/her.
Okay, go ahead, talk to us.
I just wanted to say I don't think that white people should celebrate it per se. I kind of spent the day going on different people's lives and just sending some gifts to people, black people, um, and that was really it. I don't think we should be celebrating it. We should recognize it and learn about it, but I don't think we need to celebrate it. Um, it should be a celebration for black people because it was a day that they were freed.
So what do you, in your understanding, what is the meaning of Juneteenth, and why do you feel like it's something that white tea people should learn about?
Well, because I think that there's a lot of, I mean, gosh, I was going through Twitter today and there was so much negativity from white people around it. And I'm not quite sure I understand why. Like, it's
You don't understand why?
no, I don't understand why people are so negative about it. It's really disheartening that people feel that way. I don't know 100% about it. I know that it was the day, and I think in Texas that, and because I think it was a couple years after slavery was across the country supposed to be um, finished, but in Texas, I gather it was the last group, and that was the reason for June 19th. But no, I don't understand why. It's really sad that people feel that it shouldn't be a thing. I feel like
Hmm.
it should be a thing.
It should be a thing. Meaning, what would make it a thing? Do um, you mean that because I remember you said that non-black people shouldn't celebrate it. So, what do you mean by a thing? What do you mean it should be a thing?
It should be a holiday. It should be a legal holiday, it,
A
as it
legal
is.
holiday? So you mean a
Yeah, like it
holiday?
is.
You mean like a holiday nationally recognized?
Yeah,
Okay. And why do you feel that?
I feel bad because it's sad to me that there are people in this world still in 2024 who have such a mindset that they can't understand why black people should be able to celebrate that day. It just doesn't make sense to me that people feel that way.
Why does it not make sense to you? Do you understand the origins of Juneteenth?
I, I I'm not going to say I do 100%. No,
Do you understand the institution that created the need for Juneteenth?
white supremacy.
Okay, so what are you confused about?
I'm confused. Well, I'm not confused. I see it every day, racism, but it just I'm not confused about it. I'm disgusted with it. I'm sad about
Mm.
it. I'm disheartened by it. I'm grossed out by it that people still feel this way. It's sick. It's a sickness in people's heads that they feel this way
And
because of someone's skin color.
you think by making it a national holiday, uh, that would change these people's hearts, maybe?
No, I think some people are never going to change. Um, but I think that there are more people who are starting to realize, and not only about the holiday, just in general about racism, that it's just ridiculous. It's just the whole concept of it is ridiculous. And I think that those people, there's always going to be racist people. I don't think that's ever going to completely go away,
Why do you feel
ever.
like that?
Because there's always people with small minds. It goes to anything. It goes to racism. It goes to homophobia. It goes
Do
to
you
anything. There's always going to be people who have small minds and who lack empathy and intelligence and just think that they can judge people because of who they are or what color they are or who they choose to be with or anything.
do you think that people with big minds are not racist?
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. Some with big minds, well, they think they have big minds, but if they are racist, they have a small mind,
But
in my
I'm
opinion.
curious to know. I'm curious to know because I've heard this before. Usually, it's from people within the snow flavored community that believe racism is and always will be. I'm always curious to know where that mindset comes from. What makes you feel like it's something that will be perpetuated throughout, the future, just forever,
I
ongoing?
don't know. It's just a feeling I have because we've been so many years. How many years has it been that this is still going on? It's just been so long. I hope that it goes away. Gosh, I pray that it's gone. But I just don't. I always think that there will be those people.
Okay. Do you think you're a racist?
I don't think I am racist. No.
Okay. All right. What distinguishes you from the big-minded or small-minded people that are racist? What makes you different?
Well, I mean, I do what I can. I try, first of all, as a person, I judge everybody on their character and how they treat me and how they treat the people I love. And I don't care what color you are, where you're from. If you treat me right, the respect is mutual. That's all. And it has nothing to do with race. And I think that I try to school other people, people in my sphere, people, family, if it's friends, if it's people I just am meeting and they make comment or something like that, I'll address it. I'm not just going to sit there and laugh it off. I'm not. I'll address it. I'll do it to my mother. I don't care. I'll always address it. And, that I
Do you
try,
feel like you were
try to do
racist
what I can.
at one? Do you feel like you were ever racist?
No. I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, but my best friend growing up was a black woman. And I spent all of my time with her and her friends. And I grew up, that was my favorite person in the world. It still is today. She's still my best friend. And I gather she taught me from a child, from a young person, that she was a wonderful person and it didn't matter what race she was. And so I think I grew up kind of with that mindset that I don't care. And I've just gotten more political about it, I guess, as I've gone on in the years, now that I talk about it more. When I was young, I didn't understand how much racism was out there. I think when you're a kid, you don't really realize it as much.
Do you believe?
Now that I'm an adult, it's different.
Do you believe racists can have black friends?
I think they can. I actually knew someone who I knew was a racist and had black friends, listened to hip hop music, dressed like he was a hip hop performer. His favorite basketball player was Michael Jordan. His favorite, everything he liked was from a black artist or a black sports person. But behind closed doors, it was a friend of mine's brother. Behind closed doors, he was a racist. And
Okay.
I used to say to him, I'd be like, how can you be racist and everything you like and everything you emulate is a black person?
Mhm. And so, do you think that, you know, if Donald Trump, someone that I think most people, including his supporters, understand to be a racist, were to, overhear someone making fun of a black woman's hair and said, "Hey, man, that's racist." Do you think that would make him no longer a racist?
No.
Okay. So, what distinguishes you from a racist?
Like I said, I don't judge people by their skin color. I don't.
Okay. Well, the reason I asked that is because the qualifiers that you gave me were confronting people about racism, which you agreed that if Donald Trump were to do that, he could still be a racist. And then you brought up your friend who was black, and I said, there are racists with black friends. So,
Well, but he's proven himself to be a racist. I've not proven myself, in my opinion, of course. I've never done anything that I can see that would be constitute me being a racist.
mm, all right, well, I'm going to go into the next guest, but I would say to the people that's watching, the non-melanated people, it's better to prove yourself to be non-racist than to say that you haven't proven yourself to be a racist. Because in spaces with black people, we assume that you're a racist until proven otherwise. And I've yet to meet someone that's proven otherwise.
I understand that.
To understand that distinction. We'll go to the next
I
guest.
understand that.
Thank you,
Thank
Jen.
you.
All right. Amanilder. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
I'm 25. My pronouns he, his, and I'm a person of color.
All right, talk to us.
So I
I'm
do
sorry.
believe.
Hold on. First of all, happy Juneteenth to everybody in the comments, man. I really need y'all to tap like. Let's get to 20K. Happy Juneteenth. I see the red, black, and green hearts, Sister India. And everybody put red, black, and green down in the comments. Happy Juneteenth, man. All the brothers and sisters, red, black, and green. You know what I'm saying? The Pan African colors, land, history, and culture. You know what I'm saying? Blood, people, and land. You know what I'm saying? Free the land, free the Congo. Don't forget about the Sudan. Don't forget about Haiti. Ashe to the ancestors. Black power. All right, we're going to go back to the last guest. You said you were a person of color. Could you give us your race, please?
I am Black African.
All right, talk to us.
I'm just not African American, but I'm Black African.
It don't matter. African
So
Americans is an
currently I live in
ethnicity.
Texas. I'm sorry?
African
I'm
American
not
is an
African
ethnicity, not a
American.
race. I understand that, but I'm just saying African American is an ethnicity, not a race.
Okay.
So it's an ethnicity.
What
Yeah,
what
go
I'm
ahead.
trying to say is like I'm not Black American.
I
But
know, but that's
my
okay. You don't
skin
have to be a
color is
Black
similar
American to
to
be Black.
yours.
You
Okay.
don't have to be a Black American. That's like me saying I'm not Egyptian. Like that don't got
But I
nothing to do
mean,
with this
but I
conversation.
mean, yeah, it kind of does because if Juneteenth is an African American holiday, then I think that him saying
Please don't interrupt. You don't have to say that you're not African American. We just ask your race. Because you say you Black, and we can just keep it pushing, or you can say you African, and we can keep it pushing. African American is an ethnicity. But go ahead, talk to us.
Okay, so should Juneteenth be celebrated by non-Black people? I do think if the intent is actually a good intent, I don't see a problem with it or a harm with it. So I would say that brown people and like Indian people celebrating it, I don't think that it's a bad idea. Uh, so I do believe
Why do you
that
feel that way?
there are other. Because, for example, Indians have had a very harsh experience with uh, the white community because they have been colonized and enslaved. So it would be a good way to show the appreciation for them, for the Black community, because they've had a very harsh history in the past.
So
So
do you think that Jewish people should also celebrate Juneteenth?
I don't believe that.
Why not?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Because they didn't have the same type of a similar type of history. You get what
That's
I'm
not
saying,
what the
right?
Bible says.
Oh, okay. I mean, in that case, I'm talking about like a recent history. Like in recent
Yeah, but I'm
history, I
saying
don't
if you're
think.
just going to say that someone is oppressed and that's the reason why they should celebrate Juneteenth, then why don't we just say open it up? You know, why disabled people can celebrate Juneteenth if that's the case? Like, why is oppression the qualifier for whether or not someone can celebrate Juneteenth or not? Why is it just based
Uh,
on
be,
preference?
because when it comes to a racial oppression or a racial prejudice history, I think it's very different from a disability discrimination because e- uh, me personally, I've had the chance to work with a lot of disabled people. Their experience is not similar to
I
racism.
think you're veering off the conversation. That's not what that was an example that I was using, but that was not the reason I brought up disabled people. What I was trying to say was if you're going to make oppression the qualifier for someone to be able to celebrate Juneteenth, an ethnic holiday about African Americans, if you're going to open up our holiday to anyone that has been oppressed, why start with India and why not start with, I don't know, Aboriginal Australians?
Because when I say oppression, I mean like a race-based oppression. You get what I'm saying, right? Like a,
Jewish people went through a race based oppression in World War II. Do you disagree?
I disagree because a lot of Jewish people, even though I do believe there's a difference between ethnicity and race.
I'm not going to
So,
say that Jewish people are non-white, but in World War II, Jewish was a race.
oh, I'm sorry. I mean, they say that you learn new things every day, you know.
The man that did all
So
of that stuff, the
me
mustache,
having the
you
lack,
considered them a race during that
yeah.
time. So what I'm trying to say though
Oh,
is,
okay.
why is race-based oppression the qualifier? I think you're not. I don't know if maybe there's a language barrier. I think you're not understanding my question because, for example, it's like you're saying anyone should be able to celebrate, um, you know, I don't know, Christmas because they've had a baby. It's like why are you opening up a holiday that's for a specific history of a specific group of people to a people on the other side of the planet just because they've had oppression? What is
Uh,
what is your thinking behind that?
because when I see Black Americans celebrate Juneteenth or Black History Month and stuff, since I have the similar skin color, it actually resonates with me, even though I didn't have
So you
the
think
Black
that
American
African
experience to
American
like.
is just the skin color? That's why you came up here confused when I asked you about your race. Now I'm starting to see what's happening right now. Okay, so you think African American is just a skin color. So anyone that's brown can just celebrate African American holidays because they're brown. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm trying to say is what Black Americans have went through
It's
have a
nothing
lot
like
of
what Indian
resonation with
people went
other
through.
nations.
It's
What?
nothing like what Indian people went through.
No, no, no. What I'm trying to say is like colonization and slavery. You
We
know,
didn't go through the slavery that black people in America went through.
of course, but you're talking about the degree, though.
They didn't even
The
go through the degree
degree.
of colonization.
That's my point. So the degree is harsher and much more inhumane of what Black Americans have went through. I acknowledge that. What I'm trying to say is when I came to Texas, the first time I came to Texas, right? I've like Black Americans used to talk to me. There was prejudice in this state or blah blah blah, right? And I was like, I never understood it, right? But when I lived through it, I start understanding what they were saying. So when I see a celebration, uh, you know, Black Americans celebrating Juneteenth and Black History Month, it also resonates with me because here's the thing, right? What they're facing is racial prejudice, right? So if I celebrate it with a good intent,
Do you
I don't see
believe
a
Juneteenth
problem
is
and a
about
harm with
racial
it.
prejudice?
I'm sorry?
You believe Juneteenth is about racial prejudice?
It's not. It is actually the South and the other Confederate states. Even after the slavery was abolished, the practice didn't stop, right? It was still active, right?
I don't even know what you're referring to anymore.
What I'm
So
talking about
let's.
is even when after slavery was abolished. For example, I remember there was a segregation laws that were put down on the South. There are a lot of laws, for example, lynching. So
Please don't say that
I
word
do.
on TikTok. But go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Please don't say that word on TikTok.
Oh, I'm sorry, but what I'm trying to say is I do believe that even after slavery was abolished, there were a lot of practices and laws that were done to Black Americans,
What does that
and
got to do with Juneteenth, brother? I'm
because
confused.
it's also an opportunity, even if the original story is not about it, it provides an opportunity for people to come together and end systematic slavery and systematic white privilege, right? So I do believe that we could use it as an opportunity to end the racial inequality and inequity. You know?
No, I don't know. I think you like the sound of your own voice. Thank you for wasting my time.
I'm
Let's go
sorry.
to the next
Okay.
guest. Ray, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
26, black, him.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, talk to us, brother.
I think Juneteenth should only be celebrated by non-black people who are actively trying to do something, who are actively not trying, doing something to rid white supremacy or the white supremacy system that we live in. If you're not doing nothing, then don't celebrate nothing.
Well, I mean, I hear you, but it's a celebration. You know, I hear you, but
I don't think you can. I don't think you
you
should.
know,
You can take part in that celebration if you ain't did nothing. You know, I don't think you can. I honestly don't think. What are you celebrating? You know, it doesn't
well,
relate. How does it
celebrations
relate to
have
you?
holidays have different different uses. You know, they can be to remember history, learn, teach, maybe certain traditions, customs. There's many different uses, usefulness that you can find in a holiday. You know, it doesn't always. I mean, what's the point? How is it constructive in your idea, to do your idea and have people that only have outwardly contributed to? And I would say no one had. I would say anybody that even talks like that hasn't really done anything. I would say the people that have done things are either in Guantanamo or gone, with the ancestors. You
Oh,
know,
I see what you're
there's a
saying. I see
difference
what you're
between
saying.
resistance and retaliation. The only people that have retaliated are no longer with us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see
So,
what you're
so
saying.
who's going to celebrate those that are no longer with us because they retaliated? It's going to be the people that wasn't retaliating with them. It's going to be the people that had some resistance but didn't have the the gall to retaliate.
True. That's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Well, if that's the case, if you're going on the reason as to the reason as to why we are celebrating this, then they would be excluded, right? Then, because it's for, like you said, it is for a certain purpose, right? So I guess that would say that they would exclude it. I was saying that I would give reason to say that if you're actively trying to resist, and if you're doing something such as putting money in the black community, donating to organizations, grassroots organizations that help um, uh, black people in particular, or if you are making space, right, or not trying to, I guess, get in rooms and take up space, if you're actively doing that, right, or if you're actively involved in something legislatively that combat systematic oppression, I would think that
Legislatively, come on now.
yeah.
We just
Hey,
we just
listen,
we,
hey,
hey
listen.
man, we was just
This is
talking about
this is.
retaliation, man.
I'm saying, but
Counter
this is.
racism.
I'm saying this. But I'm talking about a small group of people, a very small group of people. Like, this isn't just anybody can't just say like, oh, like, I'm I'm celebrating. I think the criteria that I'm naming X out a lot of people. Wouldn't you agree?
I don't see the point in that, to be honest. I think we need to include as many brothers and sisters that don't know as possible so that they can come and have a reason to learn their history and a reason to understand that this is not a celebration of black liberation, but a celebration commemorating those that sacrificed their lives for us to be here and survive the institution of slavery. Not just uh incarceration and enslavement of our bodies in general, but the institution, the criminal institution of slavery fell in this country. And there was a people that for 339 years went through a great ordeal to get us here to where we are today. And we can honor them and we can celebrate them. And people that don't do that every day can learn about that on Juneteenth.
Yeah, that's
If
true.
I may, brother.
So actually,
Uh,
brother, I think that was five Panther
yeah, hold on.
paws.
By all means, we're gonna get to you. We're gonna get to you, family. Ray, let me go to the next guest. Appreciate you for coming up.
All right.
Uh,
Oh, the family.
yeah, I
Just
gotta
to let you
run
know, I
through
think
people.
that was five Panther paws. Somebody just
Oh, that was
thankful
five.
just gave it. Yeah.
Shout out to Thankful. Thank you, Thankful. And y'all don't forget to tap like. Let's get to 50K. I appreciate y'all tapping like while we listen along. Big up all my brothers and sisters worldwide. Today is Juneteenth, a holiday that is for strictly celebrating the fall of the institution of slavery in America. Is something that I think is constructive for us to celebrate. And big up to all my African American brothers and sisters. We here with you. All right. J.E. Freeman, give us your age, race, and pronoun.
41, black, he, him.
All right. Talk to us.
I think they should be forced to celebrate. Not so much celebrate, but like it should be a day of remembrance for them so that the ones that don't know about what happened, how they chose not to abide by the laws that they set up or they collaborated to conspire against us. I think a lot of them don't know the whole story. So a lot of people, I mean, even my own ignorance, I didn't know about Juneteenth coming from DC until I moved to Colorado and I met people from Texas. And so I was like 25 and I'm 41 now. And yeah. So yeah, the white boy
So how you
Singapore.
going to do that?
The same way it happened with Martin Luther King Day. The how like enraged those extremists on their side were about Martin Luther King Day becoming a national holiday would just allow us to know who in our community is on that extreme side.
But you said forced. How are you going to force them?
Well, just the same like Martin Luther King Day is like forced. Like schools are off, banks are closed, all that stuff. So they don't have a choice, but like they don't have to go out and cook food and hang out with their family or anything, but they have to
Have the day
acknowledge
off?
that history happened. They must acknowledge that even when the federal government decided to end the institution, there were private actors that were in the community who were working to continue the practice in any way possible. And that's just what evolved into like the prison system, right? Or mass incarceration, convict leasing, all that stuff was those people
How
trying to
does
work
how
out
does
another way.
forcing them to have a day off help black people in any way?
Well, because the same thing with Martin Luther King Day when it was first implemented,
Why
there
do you
was
think it
such.
was implemented?
Why do I think Martin Luther King Day was?
Yeah.
I think people were trying to show us that they were really on our side, like true allyship.
That's what you think. You
I
think the
don't.
same system that unalived Martin Luther King decided to celebrate Martin Luther King to show solidarity?
To make it seem like they're showing solidarity. Yes, it's a whole thing. So this guy told me,
So then you
uh,
think that forcing people to celebrate and
no,
formative
not celebrate,
solidarity, you think
but for them it
performative
would be like
solidarity is something we should force because it's constructive in somehow, in some way for black people? It's
yeah. So like the ones that are engulfed in the propaganda right now, if they have kids, like the newer generations would hopefully start to reflect about their parents and forefathers' immorality, so that I'm not really sure. Honestly, it's just so that so they
So
have something
Freeman,
else to complain about,
Freeman,
or they
Freeman,
just they just
Freeman. The problem is family is that you're talking about forcing them, but you know, the United States government was the ones that implemented the Martin Luther King Day in the first place. They're the ones that allowed that to take place. They're the ones that put it into place, and then they're the ones that also um, essentially whitewashed everything that Martin Luther King was actually saying. For example, they
Yeah.
always talk about, or they always requote the, content of a person's character, but they never talk about the title of his last speech that was found inside of his hotel room, right outside of which was where he was pew-pewed. The title of that speech was "Why America May Go to Hell."
It sure was.
So
I'll have to read that. I'll get
yeah,
on
no, I
that
mean, like that,
maybe
he never
tomorrow.
got a chance to write it fully because he got pew-pewed, but like that was the title of the speech.
Yeah.
And before that, he was already talking about he feels as though that he's leading his people into a burning house. Like he was regretting the things that he had worked towards.
Right.
And
I
so that's
get
the
that
reason why
too.
the United States government pew-pewed him. But like you think that the same government that YT washed what he said and
Right.
pew-pewed him
Right.
is then going to do something to the benefit of black people and force other YT people to do something to the benefit of black people?
No. I'm not making the claim that it would force them to benefit us, but it would impede their day, or it would. Um, I don't honestly, bro. I don't really know why they were so mad about it. Um, the only
They're
reason
They
is
mad
want
that,
because every single
retaliation because
YT.
they
yeah,
mad.
the only reason is the racist. That's it. But so, like in Virginia, a few years back, they tried to put a Robert E. Lee Day on the Friday before Martin Luther King Day, and so that's in like Gen Z or Gen Alpha's lifetime, right?
Yeah, but they're doing that today in generation now with
Yeah.
everybody that's living now. With the
That's what I'm
next
saying.
generation, they're
I'm
also
off.
perpetuating the same things now. So it's like I get
It
what you're
didn't
saying,
make
but
any good,
you're
but
what it sounds like you're trying to do is that it sounds like you're trying to depend on a YT supremacist government that
no,
is based off of capitalism, and capitalism requires that there be a slave class, and they've been dependent on black people being that slave class for centuries. It sounds like you now want that same government to all of a sudden have a change of heart to make YT people, whom are the very
I'm not
demographic.
asking.
Well, hold on.
No,
That
no,
that's the very same demographic that are the most likely to receive all the attention, the most likely to receive all of the economic benefits, the most likely to have all the laws
right.
molded so that it benefits them, and you want that same government that only works to benefit them in the vast majority of instances to all of a sudden have a change of heart centuries later to do something for us. They ain't
No,
gonna do nothing for us.
no, that's
If I
not.
may,
No,
brother.
that's not what I'm saying. So,
Right.
like
Raymond,
the
we're
way
gonna
they
move
try
on.
to.
It sounds like you're
What's
trying to
that?
force people to come to the cookout. We don't want them here.
No,
But
I don't want. I'm not trying to force them to celebrate. I think that was the word maybe people miss. I want them to have like a day of reflection to think about like what is still racist in the country. Who in my family? What did I do? Have I had any impact on a
why do
person?
you want
It's not
that?
like they should. I don't want them out at the parade. I don't want them out
I
at the
think
cookout.
I
I don't want
think
them
I think
hanging
you give
out.
them too
I want
much
them to go
credit.
home.
I think you give
I
them
want
too
them to
much
go home and
credit.
sit.
I think racism is intentional. I think they know exactly what the hell they're doing. I don't think they need a day to reflect on it. I think they reflect on it every time I get on an elevator with them. I think they reflect on it every time I'm walking behind them in the street at night. I think they
That's fair.
reflect on it when I get pulled over. They reflect on it all the time. I see them reflect on racism and
But
the
it's like
origins of anti-blackness all the time.
it's basically like how they say, oh, slavery ended so long ago. Like, why do you guys still complain? And then we can rebuttal with like Juneteenth. It didn't end the day you say it ended. So right there with your first, like their first assertion, they're already wrong. They're already in. They
I
don't.
So
honestly,
They assume they know.
I don't like the idea of trying to fix them because they broke. Everything is working as it should. Let me
If
go
I
to the
may,
next guest. By all means, give us your age, your race, your pronouns. Go ahead.
brother, thank you, brother. I'm 43. I'm African black,
All
and
right.
I'm he, him.
All right.
I'm going. This is no shade to anybody, even though I'm standing by a bunch of trees. Um, I can't understand for the life of me how Negroes can put on their best tap dancing shoes with no music and just tap dance their ass up in here. Listen, let me explain something, black men, black folk. I don't know where we get this ability or this inability to understand and comprehend that it is not your nor my responsibility to teach to teach YT folk a damn thing. This inherent need to include a people that don't give a damn about including you. Oh, maybe we can have Juneteenth as a teaching lesson. To teach who? Teach them what? If they didn't want to, let me break it down simple. If they didn't care about your black ass yesterday, they don't give a damn about learning about your black ass today. And when the 21st get here, they ain't gonna care about learning about you tomorrow. So stop this understanding, this false belief that this day brings a newfound hopefulness to YT folk, that they're gonna wake up today on Juneteenth and say, you know what? I didn't care about Negroes on the 18th, but something about the 19th. Listen, black folk, please understand that you cannot complain about your own oppression and then be a part of a system that continues to oppress you, and hoping that somebody likes you today that hated you yesterday is the dumbest thing that you can wake up and hope for. Let me tell you something about Martin Luther King's dream. Okay, I think half of y'all sleeping when he woke up a long time ago. Y'all fell asleep and y'all started dreaming his dream for him, and half you Negroes are still asleep. So listen, I just want to get on here and say I appreciate the host for expanding these types of conversations. Me personally, and I'm gonna land my plane. I do believe that this day we need to honor not only our ancestors, but the progress that we hope to make. I think we believe we're further along than we actually are, right? We think because, you know, we don't see a physical plantation that we free. You know, we free because we can walk into the Birkin bag store and get some bags. We can go get some Jordans, and, you know, we can go on and spend and get the YT man's car and get his house and get his bank loans. We think we out here doing something. But if you go to any inner city, you want to see what a prison look like without bars? Go on back to the hood. Just walk around. You not free as you believe you are. The freedom that you and I experience are freedoms that this brother is trying to explain to you that our ancestors paid for. We have to stop acknowledging that we love our culture. We got to be honest about this. And I got to say this real quick, brother, because we always throwing this saying, I love my culture. You don't love a culture that you only love when it profits you to love it. If the only time you love me as a fellow black man, if there's a benefit financially to you to love me, then you a tap dancing Negro. If the only time you honor black women and you support black women and you create safe spaces for black women is to gain access to them, you know different than the oppressor. So Juneteenth is an understanding for us to be deeper thinkers, right? So all I ask for my fellow black men and my fellow brothers and sisters is take Juneteenth as a learning opportunity to understand that just because you believe you're free, if we got to start speaking French out here in our community. Stop this nonsense. If this brother on the screen is not free, then I'm not free. If he's not successful, I'm not successful. We got to stop this equivalency, me, myself, and I, until all black people are free. I don't give a damn about my personal freedom. Anyway, I'm sorry, brother. Thank you for the
Absolutely. Hey, man, I should have known with a name like by all means necessary. I should have known what we was getting into just now, man. Appreciate you, brother. Brought us back to a place of balance and Ubuntu. I am who I am because of who we all are. Individualism is a Eurocentric morality. We don't follow that. We have to put the community above all. Pro-blackness is prioritizing one's actions and values with what's in the best interest of building within the black community, above self-interest and the interest of other communities. We put our people first, man. I really appreciate you giving us that breakdown, brother. Let me go to
just real quick, family. I wanted to everybody go and follow by all means, because that brother there, he a few months back, well, actually last year, that brother there, he unapologetically stands for Black people, unapologetically stands for protecting Black women. And brother, like I've reposted your stuff before, and I've seen you up here before, and you're always consistent with it. I appreciate you. He stood on business a while back ago, and because he stood on business to try to defend a Black woman, of course, obviously the white supremacist medical system then removed him from his employment. So any amount that you could donate towards that brother to be able to aid in his day-to-day activities, definitely donate. But yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know that.
Okay, he a big stepper. That's what I like to hear, man. Thanks for coming up on the live, brother.
That means a lot, brother. Thank you, man. You didn't have to say that, brother. I appreciate it, man. And I just pray that a young brother that heard what you just said, more than any donation anybody could send me, and I need to say this, host, real quick, more than any donation, any dollar amount, is that we as Black men, we must understand if you do not honor the womb in which you come from, don't come to me about your own oppression. Don't tell me about the white prosecutor on your back. Don't tell me about the white cop that's about to beat you upside the head. Don't tell me about these false charges of this system putting on. If you go home and as a Black man, you oppress the Black women in your community, in your life, don't tell me about your own oppression when you turn a blind eye to the oppression you create. So I thank you for saying that, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, yeah, that brother know what he talking about, don't he? Let's go to the next guest, Incognito. Give us your age, your race, and your pronouns, please.
Hi. First of all, happy Juneteenth. All my Black people, stand strong, stand proud. I'm sorry, what was the age, race, and pronouns?
Pronoun.
19, Black African American, and she they. I mean, not she they, I'm sorry. She her, oh my goodness.
All right, talk to us, sister.
I do not believe that non-Black people should celebrate Juneteenth, and that's just that.
I heard that.
Nobody
Straight to
chilling? We chilling?
it. That's the consensus of the live. I mean, at least of the host. I mean, I think the people down here that's not new to my platform kind of already knew the answer was hell no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I listen. The amount of lives I've came across the past couple of days have just been out of pocket conversations. So I just seen it, and I just wanted to add my 2 cents if I was allowed to. I appreciate it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't want to take up any room if anybody else want to join. So if anybody else want to add anything, we good. We chilling.
Well,
All
yeah,
right.
appreciate you
All right.
being truthful with us, sister. Thank you.
No problem.
And yeah, you see a lot of problematic TikTokers. I can't vibe with TikTok, to be honest. Even the people that I like on TikTok don't do nothing but talk. Me, brother Timothy here, and a few others are part of a nonprofit group. So we actually do things in real life. We come to TikTok to just educate and raise the consciousness of our people and find more people to gather. But anyone that wants to join us can join b1initiative.org. The link is in my bio. It's our Discord with over 900 Pan-Africans, or actually, I think we're at 900 Pan-Africans worldwide. We're building an Afrocentric encyclopedia like Wikipedia. It's called Sankofapedia. It's world history through an Afrocentric perspective where we tell the truth about our ancestors, our history, customs, cultures. You can learn anything you want to learn about Afrocentrism and Black people worldwide. We are a Garveyite nonprofit 501c3. If you want to donate, you can do that as well. Go on the website, b1initiative.org. But appreciate you, Incognito. Thank you for coming up.
Yeah, no problem. I was just looking in the chat, and somebody said, "Would you explain why?" I don't know if they were asking me or not. I'm gonna give them like 2 seconds to reply in the chat. If they don't, then I'm up out of here.
They probably not. But you can go ahead. Tell us why you say no.
All right, so you're not Black. You didn't have to deal with what we got with. So therefore, you're like, what's the point of saying, "Hey, I'm gonna claim this holiday"? That's like me saying, me not being 100% Puerto Rican. Hey, I'm gonna go do this, and I'm like, what? That don't make sense. You're not a part of that. So don't be a part of it. Don't include yourself. Keep yourself in your box, in your circle, and continue to move the way God has you moving. And let's just all be peaceful. Love my black people though. Stand strong, stand proud.
Absolutely. I love black people too. That's enough for me. The HNIC, give us your age, race, and pronouns.
Hey, peace. African American, 41. Yeah, 41 this year. Pronoun nobody. I'm from Texas.
All
And
right.
so we in Texas ones that, had, started out with doing Juneteenth and everything. So remember doing that as a kid and everything. A lot of us were kind of miffed that it became nationwide because like, yo, this is our thing. If y'all want to do something for yourselves. But we've had this conversation about, non-black people celebrating it. And we do see that, with celebration, it also at least comes with the idea of acknowledging. You don't have to do any performative dance or anything like that, but acknowledging is something that's key, especially with the history, because a lot of people don't understand a lot with the history in itself. Because like with the Emancipation Proclamation, it essentially didn't, free anybody. It was military and also political to where that France and England won't go into the war for the southern side. And then, of course, with 1865, with the 13th Amendment, and then them, opening up, of course, different southern states up until like, April 12th, end of the war, then June 19th, 1865, going to Galveston, which was a very strong Civil War stronghold. Then that's when they're saying, all right, now you're free. So it's really to where that, people have to acknowledge and see that what has happened and also what we still have to do. And this is a perfect example to where that we can make sure that people understand that. I know some people, they believe that, hey, we shouldn't try to educate our oppressors, so on and so forth. I'm diametrically opposed to that from my philosophical, also from my religious beliefs. For example, in Islam, we have a thing that's called dawah. And dawah means that you let people know who are ignorant. And when we say ignorant, not just like a stupid ignorant, but ignorant of not knowing, to where that, hey, this is what's going on, this is what's happened and everything. Because with knowledge and being able to light candles, that's how you go about and make sure that you're spreading the knowledge of what we've gone through and also what needs to happen, to where you can get more people on your side, to where saying that, hey, you know what, this needs to happen in our inner city, so on and so forth. So you'll have more backers. Then these backers aren't going to be playing in the front. Once again, they're playing in the back, then helping out to where that whatever we do and whatever we initiate and making sure that we have put it forth. So in all, yes, celebrate in the idea of acknowledging, even honoring, and making sure that saying that, hey, what else needs to be done, and also what wasn't done that should have been done. If you look at like 40 Acres of Mule and Johnson's administration, how they gave land back and everything, and how that connects to today, so where that we'll know that the revolution is still not done, and it won't be done until everything gets implemented.
Okay, I heard that. Shout out to the Texans that's been celebrating Juneteenth and spread it around to the rest of the African American diaspora here in the United States. It's wild that you brought up Islam. I started celebrating Juneteenth as a like, I think I was maybe like 10 years old, like kind of like right before I became a teenager, and we celebrated it with the Nation of Islam in our community, and I grew up Christian, but it was like a Pan African celebration, and yeah, we would get together and barbecue, and there was always someone to pour libations, teach about the history, but we had burgers on the grill, stuff like that, but yeah. I didn't even know it was a Texas thing until maybe, I don't know, maybe like 2019, 2018. I found out that it was a Texas thing. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't even understand. I knew that it happened in Texas.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was like a Texas, like real cultural thing. But the Nation of Islam did spread that word around.
Absolutely. Yeah, because like a lot of people don't know, like when they think of Texas, they think like we got the tumbleweed cowboys and stuff like that. But East Texas is southern. And people gotta realize that. In fact, it was like Tyler, Texas. That was actually one of the richest cities in the world. Next to, of course, like your New Orleans, your Jackson, Mississippi, and everything. In fact, after 1863, when the Union had took over New Orleans, a lot of those white refugees, those landowners, those slave owners, they actually went to Tyler, Texas, and everything. So Texas in itself, when we have those Six Flags over Texas, Confederate flag is one of the prominent ones out there. So it's still got that deep cotton, and still a lot of cotton that's still grown out there in East Texas and everything. So
Wow.
people forget about that. So Texas is very diverse. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that education, brother.
No doubt, man. Thank you. Keep doing your thing, brother.
Yes, sir. You too. So, brother Shaka, what's going on, family?
What's up, brother? You can skip me for the moment.
Okay. All right. Oh yeah. Fun fact. Juneteenth has a flag, y'all. Did y'all know that? There's a Juneteenth flag. It's I believe it's a 7-pointed star. I'm not sure how many points it got. But Juneteenth does have a flag. I think I like Juneteenth flag. I like that it has a flag. The Juneteenth celebrations I grew up with had the red, black, and green. The Marcus Garvey Pan African flag. Fun fact: the Juneteenth flag actually was helped. Someone that helped design it was a white woman. Believe it or not, a white woman helped design the Juneteenth flag. And, a white man made it a national holiday. Interesting. See how that works? No. Anyway, not to, what I'm saying? Like, the Juneteenth flag is if you're not, if you're not cool with it, you don't have to be. It doesn't mean, anything. I mean, it came out in 1997, I believe. So it's fairly new. It's not as oh, he got it up. Hold on, he got it up. It's not as oh, there she is. There she is. There she is. Frosted freckle flag lady. But at the same time, it was mostly designed by black folks. However, she put her touch to it. She says that she refined what they already gave her. I like red, black, and green. You know what I'm saying? I like Marcus Garvey's flag. That's good enough for me. And it's much older. I think it's from 1914, early 1900s. So that's good enough for me. This the flag we had on Juneteenth when I was going. You know what I'm saying? But I might be biased. I'm a Garveyite. All right, let's go to the next guest. I guess you could say that sexy lover. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Hey. 152, interdimensional vampire, pronouns Lord, my lord. And I just wanted to talk about, our oppressors.
Hold on. You skipped the race question. I don't know what you mean by them pronouns, but what is your race? Give us that at least.
Interdimensional vampire.
All right. So vampire dimensions. Vampire. They can't stand in the sunlight. They're usually from Transylvania. I'm assuming you're non-melanated.
Interdimensional vampire.
I'm assuming you're.
Hey, so is there any MLK Boulevard in America that isn't a crime-breeding cesspool?
Do you look like dough before you put it in the oven? Can you see your lips when your mouth is closed? You know what I'm saying? Can you do this and still see your lips? Like, hold on, I got my mustache getting wet. Hold on. Can you see your lips when you do this? Like, is there anything there, or is it just like someone cut a hole in a mask? You know what I'm saying? Like, can we answer that question first? Because I know if you can't see your lips and you really are from Transylvania, you did not come on a black man's live on Juneteenth and say your pronouns are Lord and expect to be called Lord. So please explain to me what your race is, or turn on your camera. Let's do that. Turn on your camera and show us your forehead. If I see one vein,
So why is every black neighborhood a crime-ridden cesspool?
he gone. We not doing that. All right, let's go to the next guest. She Styles. Give us your age, race, and pronouns.
Child, that was a hot mess. Brother Legend, you know I follow you. I adore your work. Let me just tell you that before I say anything. I don't been on a couple of your lives, so thank you for having me up. I'm gonna make this quick. Age 39. What was the next question? I'm black. I'm a black American. I would say because my ancestry roots dates back to indigenous that was here in America and Africa from my dad and my mom's side. So but I say I'm black or African American. I prefer African American. Pronouns, she, her. That simple. Should Juneteenth be celebrated by non-black people? Absolutely not. I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas. Okay. What are they celebrating? What are you possibly celebrating? What is there for you to celebrate? The dangers in others, as I call them, celebrating is gentrifying it. Like they did Cinco de Mayo, making it a drinking holiday versus what its origin was. And so when we share things like this, it turns into something else anytime the others put their name on it, kind of like Southern food versus soul food. I see more people saying it's Southern food when they're talking about soul food. So I don't feel like it should be shared because anytime they insert themselves in a black space, they take the name and they turn it into something else. And that's the dangers of it. Anytime what bothers me is white people telling us congratulations or happy Juneteenth for escaping their ancestors. That's cringe. It's cringe. Just be quiet. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to celebrate. Just be quiet and allow us to celebrate. We have a quiet understanding here in Texas. I think a lot of people think that Texas is this big racist state. No, baby, you can't come in Dallas or Houston with that nonsense. We got a quiet understanding. We don't F with y'all, and y'all don't F with us. Stay on your side, and we'll stay on y'all's. And as long as you don't get out of line, you won't catch these hands. That's always been a thing in Texas. That's what people don't understand. When people say that, oh, Texas is a red state. No, it's only red in the rural areas. Me being a Dallas native, we don't experience racism. We clock it and we check it. As far as that flag, I'm with you, brother. We don't celebrate that flag in Texas. I can tell you that right now. It's a disgrace because it's colonized. How you gonna give us a flag that staples the red, white, and blue when you brought us here and your ancestors created that and you want us to celebrate it? No, we celebrate the green, red, and black. So that's why I have a problem with other states saying it's Juneteenth and then they're posting that flag, because if they were really from Texas, they would know we don't celebrate that flag. We don't even acknowledge that flag. It's nonsense to us. Don't matter who created it, because you ain't gonna do us no favors after you brought us here based off of your ancestors' DNA, and then now you want to create a flag for us? No, ma'am. We don't celebrate it. And
Yeah,
I
that is.
digress.
All right. Appreciate you, sister. Thank you for that word. No, that's facts. And everybody down below, we need you to keep tapping like. We're trying to get to 100K. Let's get to 75. We're at 60 now. Keep tapping like, brothers and sisters. If you have ever in your life used Blue Magic hair grease, please tap like. If you know what a hot comb smell like, please tap like. We need to get on the right algorithm. You know what I'm saying? If you dance with your hips when you dance, please tap like. That is an African tradition. Goes back thousands of years. I don't care what part of diaspora you go to, somebody's shaking their behind. So please tap like if you have rhythm. You know what I'm saying? If you're blessed and highly flavored, you know what I'm saying? Very flavored and seasoned looking, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we need y'all to tap like so y'all can put us on the correct algorithm we need to be on to reach the brothers and sisters. Shaka, give it. Who said Crown Royal? Y'all need to. Yo, who said Crown Royal? If you have ever had Crown Fried Chicken, if you have ever had Crown Fried Chicken in your life, I ain't gonna use the stereotype fried chicken, but if you know about the Chicken Shack and you know about Crown Fried Chicken, Crown, Crown, then y'all need to tap like. You definitely need to tap like because you probably from the East Coast if you know about Crown. But anyway, Shaka, you here with us? Crown is the best. You can't get that nowhere else. You ain't going to no Popeyes, no nothing else that got that. I don't know what that is. They got at Crown, and it's not black owned, but many things aren't. But we be in there. We sure be in there. $20 get you like I think like 15 pieces or something. Like you get breasts. It's fire, yo. I miss Crown Fried Chicken. I'm from Elizabeth, yo. I'm from North Jersey, so. Man. Oh, somebody said with Crisco. If you have ever had fried anything, but especially chicken with Crisco, then I need you to tap like because you probably one of the elders. You know what I'm saying? We getting up there in age, y'all. They don't make Crisco like they used to. It used to have trans fat in it. It don't got that no more. But if y'all have ever had milk going sour in your refrigerator, and your mama said, no, keep it. We're going to make biscuits. Tap like right now. I need you to tap like. If that milk was going bad and you was about to throw it out and your mama said, no, put it back in the fridge. We making biscuits. Then I need you to tap like. I need you to tap like. Share this with your friends or cornbread. If you know about crackling bread, if anybody knows about crackling bread, then I don't even need you to tap like. You need to DM me. DM me. If you know what crackling bread is, then you are deep in the culture. You're one of the curators. Okay, Shaka's back. What's going on, brother?
Peace, peace, peace. I know about that crackling bread. Oh God, I know about that crackling bread. I don't
Yes,
know how to
sir.
make that
My aunt
motherfucker.
used to make that back
I
in.
don't know how to.
That's a North Carolina delicacy.
I don't even know how to make it, and I ain't from Carolina. I'm from Alabama, and I know about it. And what it do, family? What it do? Name Shaka Kofu. I'm 21. My pronouns he, him, and I'm back. I'm black and I'm back, baby. You know what I'm saying? Free the land. You know what I'm saying? Black laws and black liberation for all black people all across the world. You know what I'm saying? We gotta be the African family, y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's us against everybody. No matter where you from, no matter your accent, what language, it's us against everybody. We gotta stick together. Should Juneteenth be celebrated by non-black people? Emphatically, no. I don't want to see no white T-man, woman, or child coming out. Yeah, but we're happy that you were free. You know, when they lie now, they lie anyway. But you know they lie when they say that. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing I realize is for some of our brothers and sisters, we see these devils, you know what I'm saying? And it, you know what I'm saying, trying to make it seem like they really for us. See how the one in the background got the BLM on her back, you know what I'm saying? But if it was really time to throw down, I bet she'd be like, no, guys, that's not the dream of Martin Luther King. He would want us to come together. You know what I'm saying? But they never, like Brother Timothy said earlier, they never look at New Testament Dr. King, you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with Brother Malcolm. They always, but it's reversed. They talk about New Testament Malcolm, but they'll never talk about Old Testament Malcolm. The Malcolm that taught separation, you know what I'm saying? They don't talk about the new Martin Luther King who knew about the nightmare that he created by integrating us with our slave masters. Whether we know it or not, we still on that plantation. And we might not be on it physically, but from how some of us act, it's very well mentally, we are still on this plantation, you know what I'm saying? I call it the African H coast, you know what I'm saying? We've been through it physically, Now, you know what I'm saying, they H costs our mind. You know what I'm saying? They
Mm-hmm.
taught you that everything black was bad and everything white was all right. They tell you that devil's food cake is black, angel's food cake is white. You wear black the funerals, you wear white the weddings. If I want to throw you out of the church, I'll blackball you. If I got some information on you and I want to make you do whatever I want to do, I'll blackmail you. It's not
Mm-hmm.
good to lie, buddy. But if you must tell a lie, you gotta tell a little white lie. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You can't even go in the pool room without facing racism. You know what I'm saying? You got the white ball knocking all the color balls, the green, the red, the yellow, and all that. And the worst ball on the pool table is the black ball. You can't tell me that they can celebrate Juneteenth when they still doing the same racist, non-productive things in front of our face, generation after generation. They told you that they won't change. They coded that way. Just because they get out here, swing a little, you know what I'm saying? A
Mm-hmm.
flag that represent us, play a little Tupac once in a while. You know what I'm saying? Just because someone don't know how to hit the deck, it don't mean that they your friend. You know what I'm saying? Just because the devil do good don't mean that the devil can be good. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
These devils should be celebrating us being free. They should be making holidays for us. They should be doing everything they can to put us in a better position because they no good mammy, no good poppy, and all the long line of descended dogs and descended no good devils that crawled around the caves put us in this predicament. They, you know how many Mumia Abu Jabars we'd have had, how many Emmett Tills we had, Breonna Taylors, you know what I'm saying, Rodney King, Trayvon Martin. I keep on going. One
Mm-hmm.
brother back in the 90s, you know what I'm saying, who got pew pew 41 times, bro. 41
Mm-hmm.
times. And y'all want to sit right here and allow these no good, you know what I'm saying, devils to come try to celebrate with us? They don't mean us no good. They don't mean us no good. They should be working for you. You should sit down and think about that because they put you in this predicament, man. You know what I'm saying? It was our people that they went over there and snatched off the coast of Africa, came to Africa and did what they did to us wholesale. You know what I'm saying? They
Yes,
should be
sir.
doing what they do. And even then, like I always say, them doing what they do now still won't change for me. You a devil, man. They are a devil. There is nothing they can do to me and make sure that they have my best interest at heart. Because we seen the same cycle play over and over and over and over. They get the same boot-licking buck fins and half baked, half fried, sissified, pasteurized, homogenized to do it. They get Jesse Jackson. They'll get old Mr. Jesse to come out there. I am somebody. You know what I'm saying? Then they'll point to some no good blue-eyed devil that want to try to act like us. I'm talking about Eminem. You know what I'm talking about, Eminem.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And now they want to try to make it seem like what they want to celebrate Juneteenth for. You wouldn't change. You experienced freedom from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Juneteenth is about us. Because while y'all achieved y'all independence, my great-grandmother, my great-grandfather was still trying to plan a way to escape. My great-grandfather, great-grandmother was getting great by the white tea man, by a white tea overseer. My grandfather could have too. My great grandmother or grandfather could have been sold from her mother, his father, his sister, all of them. They can't tell me nothing. They shouldn't be celebrating none with us because they are no good. Any holiday that we celebrate that represents us being uplifted, look in the history of why we celebrate that holiday. You're going to find this devil at the forefront holding us back. They shouldn't be celebrating no Juneteenth. They shouldn't be celebrating anything. But, you know, like I always say, man, like I always say, it's gonna come a time where our people gonna wake up and they gonna realize that, you know what I'm saying, the coffee ain't always their coffee, you know what I'm saying? Whenever you got some strong black coffee, they always try to get some dirty white tea cream to kind of integrate into it to soften it up. You know what I'm saying? To soften it up. So Juneteenth is for us, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how they can know a whole chant. They can know a whole Malcolm X speech. They can even watch Khalil Abdul Muhammad. Don't accept them. You telling me because the devil know a little fun facts about us, you gonna let us in? You gotta remember, separation is the best solution. You know what I'm saying? We can't let them in the slave theater just because they trying to celebrate how we got off the plantation. Because you don't know why they still celebrate. They clapping because, yeah, nigga, And I excuse my language, but in they mind like, yeah, niggas, y'all might have got off that plantation physically, but mentally, nigga, you still my slave. That's all it is, man. This is slave theater. You gotta be a radical slave, y'all. Y'all gotta be a radical slave. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we celebrate Juneteenth. We also go you know what I'm saying? We still gotta be radical. You know what I'm saying? Just to know we still on that plantation. We still gotta be ready to move. You still gotta be like a Harriet Tubman, a Denmark Veason, a Gabriel Proctor. You know what I'm saying? Nat Turner. You know. But happy Juneteenth, y'all. I love y'all, Black family. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Black Power.
Absolutely. Words from the wise, you know what I'm saying? A young brother that has proven that he's studied and knows the knowledge, man. Appreciate you, brother Shaka, man. Happy Juneteenth to all the brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? When he talks about separation, understand that that's much different than segregation. That is a much different thing. Separation is our liberation. Segregation is depriving people of resources and also just keeping it to themselves. That is not something we do. But we do encourage to have the self-determination to build for ourselves separately, away from our oppressor. Nobody watches the movie Friday and says, why doesn't the woman that's running away from Michael Myers turn around and get along with him? Why don't they all get along? Why is she separating herself? Why is she? No one calls that segregation. She's liberating herself. So the same way that in those horror movies you see someone running away from someone that's meant to do them harm, we as Black people need to have that same self-determination to separate ourselves as well. And I think Shaka outlines that pretty exquisitely, man. Appreciate you, brother. Let me go to the next guest. I think it's Deja. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Hello. Thank you for having me. And I would like to say that my age is 27. I am actually mixed, but I'm like Black and mixed with a few other things. And my pronouns are she, her. So I feel as though no non-Black people should not be able to celebrate Juneteenth with us. I mean, look at all the videos that happened where they were doing blackface on us and TikTok videos, and it was just crazy. And why would we want you to celebrate Juneteenth with us? Why would we want you to do that? All the disrespect that we received. And another thing is, I'm kind of questioning as to why Black Lives mattered only when the whole George Floyd thing arose, like that situation. Like our communities were killing each other, like our whole Black community, we were killing each other. It still happens to this day.
Okay, so just, Deja, you have to say unalived in order to, TikTok-friendly language.
All right, I'm confused right now. I'm very confused right now.
Me too.
I'm very confused. I need some clarification. So, you said that from the beginning, you said you were mixed, and then you said us. So do you consider yourself part of the mixed community, or are you speaking for the Black community?
I'm speaking for the Black community because I am Black, but I have like a few other cultures mixed in with me.
There are many Black people. I would say Black people are the most diverse. It's not even I would say. It's just proven. And there's empirical data that the Black community is the most ethnically mixed community on Earth, even on the continent of Africa alone. It is the most diverse continent on the planet. So being ethnically diverse doesn't make you any less black, and it serves no purpose when people ask you what your race is to talk about how many ethnicities you come from. But
It's
if we're
just,
going to take it at face value and just say that you meant black,
yes,
then
I'm just
why?
black mixed, like mixed, but I'm black. So I just was throwing that
But you
out.
could just say black because we're all mixed. Everyone black is mixed with something. Even if you're on the continent of Africa, you could be blacks mixed with a different shade of black, or black mixed with a different kind of black. It like it's real. When you talk about blackness, you're talking about the most ethnically, genetically diverse people group on the planet. So it doesn't distinguish you to be quote unquote mixed with a people group that left from Africa thousands of years ago, but you got a parent from Africa, so you're still just black. You just mixed is a description that we didn't need. But anyway, even if we were to take what you're saying at face value and say that you are speaking for the black community, that you consider yourself black, I'm gonna just act like that's what you said. Why did you bring up violence intra-community when we're talking about Juneteenth, which is inter-community violence, interracial violence, rather? Why would you speak on, um, you said we were unaliving each other?
Yeah, I'm just saying that, I felt that that was also an issue in our community. And, there's a lot of people who are non-black who always bring that up about us. Black people always all shooting up everything and all this other junk.
All right, please, you gotta stay away from the violent terms. You're gonna get us taken down off TikTok, my friend. You
I'm
just
sorry.
pretend we're on Barney and Friends. You can't say ootin' people and all this other stuff. Like, we get the message, but what purpose does that serve? You're saying that there's violence in the black community. Yes, that's what you're talking about.
Yes, yes.
What does that have to do with Black Lives Matter?
What it has to do with Black Lives Matter is that when it came to like George Floyd and all that, and the whole officer hurting him, I kind of felt like it kind of tied in with the violence that's going on in our own communities.
How?
Okay, so Deja, in order to fully understand the full dynamics of everything, you have to understand the data that's associated with that. You have to understand that black on black crime is a myth. You have to understand that all of that is literally just about proximity. So, for example, I'm more likely to unalive somebody that is living closer to me, obviously, because they're right there. Same thing happens with YT communities. That's why you see that the same thing happens over there. Like, quote unquote, you could literally call it YT on YT crime, but they don't perpetuate that type of stuff because at the end of the day, they want to perpetuate the myth that black on black crime actually exists. In reality, it's literally just crime in general, but because you live closer to somebody, you're more likely to commit crime against that person. So, and also at the same time, YT people are the most likely demographic to mass pew pew areas, YT men specifically. They're also the most likely demographic to be serial unalivers. They're also the least likely demographic to bathe regularly. Like, there's a whole lot of extra crap that goes along with them being more so the issue. And they control the vast majority of what's going on within America today. So if we're talking about Black Lives Matter and we're talking about black people pew-pewing other black people, if anything, I would say that black people pew-pewing other black people are literally just the victims of YT supremacist constructs that have forced them into positions where they feel as though they have no other way to be able to resolve their issues or to be able to resolve what's going on other than to pew pew, because that's effectively what YT supremacy and racism has forced us to engage in. When you have low levels of economic opportunities, which are deliberately put in position from YT supremacist constructs, when you have less access to funding in your schools, when you have less access to property ownership, so on and so forth, when you have less access to all of these benefits, you are less likely to engage in certain kinds of behavior that would be deemed as being not criminal. Like, a brother is absolutely going to commit a certain type of crime if he's the least likely to be able to gain access to, those economic opportunities that will prevent him from even needing to do that in the first place. So again, victims of YT supremacy, and at the same time, still all myths, like you were talking about. So you gotta dig deeper. You can't just go based off of what YT people talk about, because if you only go based off of that, you're only getting YT supremacist rhetoric and propaganda that doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely. I think that needed to be said. So that's where you lose me, because Black Lives Matter was about white supremacy and police brutality, intra-community violence in a resource-deprived neighborhood where people are intentionally miseducated and less educated, and then put into circumstances where they have to actually fight for their lives. Is not the same thing as police brutality and Black Lives Matter. We didn't make Black Lives Matter to remind ourselves. Black Lives Matter is for people that don't know that already.
Yes, I understand that. I am also sorry about before. I don't want to get you taken down or anything. That wasn't my intention. However, back to the actual topic. Yeah, I still don't believe they should be able to celebrate with us. I myself have experienced like racism. This one lady who called me a nigger underneath her breath, and she was white.
Okay, you got.
She trying to get us taken down. We moving on.
Yeah, she's not here.
Damn.
Yeah, she's. Yep.
I don't know what, she trying to get us taken down. I think she's doing that on purpose. And that's the thing about these mixed, biracial, can't claim they black, gotta always tell you what other thing they got in them to, add some extra, I'm not like the rest of y'all type people. They will infiltrate, whether it be consciously or subconsciously, and cause disruption when we're trying to have a constructive conversation. So they come up and they get in the way. I'll be honest with y'all. Some of y'all gotta do better. I only want people up here that know what race they are. You don't gotta be black to contribute, because I can't stop the rest of y'all from coming up here. But at the end of the day, at least know what the hell you're talking about. Please don't come up here if you just like to hear yourself speak. Rashad, my brother, what's going on, family?
What's going on, man? For those that don't know, Rashad, he, him, 23, yep, black. And should Juneteenth be celebrated by non-black people? No, it shouldn't. But the reason why they feel like they can't is because black people refuse to gatekeep our culture. Shout out Montgomery, shout out Alabama 334. We up in here. Shout out Shaka. You already know. And you can tell when a brother from Alabama, or more specifically Montgomery or Birmingham, because we do sound preachy at times.
Y'all sure do.
We go to church. So shout out 334 Alabama, and shout out all the southern black people. I know we got a lot of northern, eastern black people in here, but shout out southern black America, man. And more importantly, shout out the diaspora, all Africans. It's very important that we stay unified. But Juneteenth is celebrated by white people because we don't gatekeep. I live in Montgomery, and for giggles, I take a trip to the Legacy Museum and the National Memorial for Peace and Justice here in the city. And it's a lot of non-black patrons of those museums, of those monuments. And it kind of tells the story, right, that the Equal Justice Initiative here has done a good work with exonerating and freeing black innocent people. But that museum is just it tells the story of how white people clearly observe kind of what's going on, and they just do nothing about it, right? I walked through the museum, walked through the monuments, and white people, they look, they observe, they see, they read, they can hear, lots of visual aids, lots of text to read, lots of pictures, but they refuse to give up that privilege and say, hey, we are responsible for atrocities, right? And it just tells that whole story how they don't really care, right? And if it was me, you know what I'm saying? No shade to Brian Stevenson or nothing like that, but if it was me, I just wouldn't have those monuments and structures up, because it's just, to me, it's a laugh in the face that white people get to, observe our oppression, observe our pain, observe our history, and just continue to sit by while a black guy in a restaurant is having a mental breakdown and the police unloads their whole utility belt on the guy. It's sad, man. They don't really empathize at all. It's just like walking through a standard, and I know people that work there. They tell me about the white tears and white tears and everything, and it's just very performative. Like, it's so performative, and there's really no meaning behind it. So I would say black people got to do a better job of gatekeeping our culture. Stop cooking for them, with them. Stop sharing music. Stop sharing your art. Stop sharing your bodies, with them, because we would never receive anything equivalent in return, right? We would never get the compensation we deserve from them. So the most we can do is stay to ourselves, like Shaka alluded to, and just gatekeep, man. Like, people think that we're up here trying to cause division and, trying to bring back whatever type of glory days, but they started that, right? They took us from a homeland, displaced us, and then after we walked out of physical chains, they put mental, spiritual, financial, more physical chains, as in mass incarceration. So it's just, we got to do a better job of gatekeeping, man. They don't deserve us, right? And we willingly give it to them. They don't work for it. They don't, you know what I'm saying, strive to do better. They don't represent minorities well, but we still give them, and it's so telling, man. Yeah, that's the worst phrase I hate. Inviting people to the cookout. If you say that, it's crazy. But just, yeah, we got to do a better job of holding things that black people, because our culture is so sacred to us, like the positive parts about it, but they just get to indulge for free, and it's weird. So yeah.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, bro. Some of y'all need to gatekeep what's between your legs, because that's the reason that they feel like they invited to the cookout in the first place. Y'all sleeping next to a powdered donut every night.
Yep.
You know
And
what I'm saying?
with the YT folks that's at the museum, some of them are being escorted by black guys and black girls. So, we have to, especially with that, like I always say, they want access to your body without actually freeing you. What does that mean? That means you might be a slave.
Right. Woo!
They
Okay.
want access
Okay,
to your body, but
Rashad.
you're not free.
You
So
see,
it's
you see,
crazy.
that's the first step to us liberating ourselves. The only way you gonna free yourself if you sit around and you acknowledge that you are a prisoner of war, that you are a slave. And I'm just gonna keep it honest. I'm not saying to degrade nobody. I'm not saying to talk down on my people. I'm just telling it what it is. No people in history ever get enslaved and then get set free and then they oppress us, teach their children? Show me where they did that at. Show me anywhere in Rome where they did that at. Anywhere, any part of Europe, any part of Asia, South America. Show me anywhere. Y'all know how low down these no good devils is. Some of y'all grandmama preached that the white man is the devil, but y'all just sit right there and say Granny talking crazy, right? Granny talking crazy. You know what I'm saying? You know, and for us, what it is, bro. And I'm just gonna keep it G. It's time to start defending ourselves, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Cause they only respect eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, and limb for a limb. I ain't saying go out and just attack them, cause that's what they want us to do. But goddamn it, when they attack one of us, all of us should be like, all right, we on all y'all. You know what I'm saying? You attack one black man, that's an attack against all black men. You attack one black woman, that's an attack against all black women. Attack against us should be attack against any one of us should be that should be a declaration of war. You know what I'm saying? Y'all shouldn't be out here every time something happen to a brother and a sister. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, we want the FBI to look into this matter. The FBI is the damn problem.
They doing it.
The CIA is the problem.
Yeah, I know that's right.
Biden to look into this matter. Biden signed the bill, fool. Biden probably at home when he see this, man, it's real, bro. These two no good devils arguing with each other on TV, and I see some brothers and sisters out here ready to rip each other apart for their slave masters.
Talk about it.
Saying? And the whole time they doing this on TV, they go behind closed doors, go to these same golf courts, drink the same wine, eat the same food in each other's face, and look what we be making these niggas do, man. Every year, same tactic. Same tactic.
Remember the riverfront, man. You saw what happened when on camera one of our people, and that's how we do it in Montgomery. I'm gonna just be real. You feel me? Alabama, that's how we do it. That we seen somebody, he got wronged, and we tripled it, we quadrupled it on them. You know what I'm saying? And I was at the riverfront today because I was doing my little tour on downtown, and to the point of the flag, a sister that she was trying to she had a chair, she was out there monetizing the chair, right? So she was like pictures and sign it, and I was peeping game, but she was like, so hey youth, this is the new flag. And it was that flag you pulled up, right? And I was skeptical, of course, because I've never seen, that was my first time seeing that flag with the stars. But I'm noticing them colors, man, and I'm like, and she's like, no, it's not red, white, and blue. Yeah, but it kind of is, right? But man, when you showed me who made it, I did not know that, man. I did not know that.
But there's a nuance to it. She didn't make it. She edited it, basically. She refined it. And
Okay, so she was involved in the process.
That's all that mattered to me.
Yeah, to me, yeah, that's all that mattered. And I think the Pan-African flag is the most inclusive flag we have. That's the one I use. It's on my window right now. So that's the flag that I use to symbolize my representation for my people. And I just wouldn't use a flag that's, for one, oppressors were involved in the making, and two, it's mimicking the same flag that we say oppresses us. So
right,
it
should be no white in a flag about black
man.
people.
Come on now. The red, black, and green is the most inclusive to Africans. If you call yourself a black person, we got a couple other flags that circle around, but that is the flag that puts us all under one banner, and that's what we need as a people. That's what we need as for a civilization to come up out of turmoil. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that flag weird, man. But
absolutely. But that's Ubuntu, y'all. The red, black, and green, man. Big up to all the Garveyites. You know what I'm saying, all my Pan-African nationalists. What's going on? Everybody, also, if y'all want to join more Pan-Africans and your brothers and sisters worldwide, join b1initiative.org. That's our Discord with over 900 people. Or we're at 900. I keep saying over. We're at 900 people. We just got to 900. Y'all can join us. The link is in my bio. B1 Initiative. That's our Discord. We have meetings every Sunday. We're building technology for our people to teach African history. Because, man, oh, man, on these TikTok streets, I'm telling you, y'all be getting some misinformation in the form of education. Is sad, heartbreaking. But let me go to the next guest. Doe Beans, give us your age, race, and pronouns. Doe Beans with a little.
Hey, what's up? 25. I am biracial, and she, her.
All right. So I'm gonna explain this one last time for the night. Biracial is a description.
Yes, I
Biracial
am
is
black
not.
and I am white. That is. I actually have a question for
No
you.
such
Actually,
thing as and white. There's no
so
such.
I have a question, just real quick.
You're non-white.
So, one drop of black blood makes you black, correct? Is that what I'm understanding?
One drop of anything makes you non-white. So you can't say you're this and you're white because you are non-white the moment you have something else in you.
Okay. Should Juneteenth be celebrated by non-white people? So, in that category, I don't fit into any category. I'm not
I didn't
welcomed
say
by
non-white. I said
anybody.
non-black people. That says non-black people.
Non-black people. So, am I considered black? I don't even understand.
Do you have one parent of African ancestry?
Wait, no, hold on, Timothy, because Timothy has a similar background, and he about to just lay a whole bunch of knowledge on you because you're clearly ignorant to this topic. But to be honest, it is Juneteenth. Why you up here if you don't know what race you are?
I'm biracial, and that's the race I was taught
That's
by my
not a
parents,
race.
by both of my parents.
So I know somebody that's got an Asian dad
Yep.
and indigenous mom. Are y'all the same race?
No, I'm biracial.
Well, this person is biracial too.
Right.
So
Yeah.
y'all the same race?
I guess biracial people are their own sector of race at this point.
Really? So what is your
Sounds
food
like.
taste like? Y'all have your own biracial food? Tell me about
I don't
biracial
I don't
food.
have a culture. We don't have cultures. I have black culture and I have white culture. I love both of my family members.
What is white culture? Please enlighten me.
White culture?
Yeah, what is that? What food do you guys have?
What is white culture? So white culture is a combination of things. So that would be Irish heritage, Ukraine heritage, French heritage.
No.
So that's white. That's white heritage, right?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
So what's the difference between black and white heritage? I'm just curious. Please educate me. I'm here to be educated, for sure.
No, you're not. You're here to be dumb. Bye-bye. Let's go to the next guest. Tashonga, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
I'm 49. Race is black, and pronouns is male. I don't really know how to do the pronoun thing, but I'm a man, male.
All right, talk to us.
First, I want to just let y'all know I appreciate y'all, man. It kind of like it's like a emptiness in my heart that's being filled when I hear these brothers talking, and it's hard to come by this. This is rare. Probably the most satisfying, moment of the day for me when I heard this brother talking. But yeah, should Juneteenth be celebrated by non-black people? It's a definitely no. Of course. I think that these, I think that when people raise their awareness and they have an understanding of the real history of this country and they have an understanding of the real history of these people, that helps you to navigate how you operate in this place, because these people have a history that actually says a whole lot about them. And I normally see when my sisters who are unaware of the reality of these people come to acknowledge, they know that they don't no longer want to date them. They don't no longer want to be in any kind of connection with them. I wanted to, with what my brother said, Shaka, I believe his name is Shaka. I mean, he hit it right on the head with something that's just been that's been just troubling me for so many days. It's a young lady who was from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, named Sade Robinson, and what happened to her was awful. What happened to her was awful, and I come to tears sometimes when I think about it. I have a daughter, I have a mother, I have sisters, and I don't know. I mean, in all honesty, the court justice is not enough. I honestly, I just felt like when I heard about this, it just seemed like black men were silent. And I just really wanted to hear what black men have to say about this particular man who did this to our child, to our sister, to our mother. This man that did what he did to her. What are black men saying? Because in all honesty, I don't even I mean in all honesty, I can't even say out loud,
Mm.
how I want to respond. And in some instances, we don't like just living and being at peace with life, it don't even really matter, you know? And I picture her last moments. I picture what kind of horror she might have been going through with that. This dude actually was hunting. They hunt us. They hunt us. He was hunting on a dating site. He was hunting. Her mother said that there are a lot of black and brown women came up missing in Milwaukee. And she was on the Nancy Grace show, and Nancy Grace was saying that they probably are all gone too. So it's actually like, and they actually put some of the responsibility possibly on him, based on what they're finding out about him. But he was hunting black women.
Mm.
This is what we're in. Who set the environment for them? This. Over time, they brought us over here. Over time, the environment was set for this type of behavior to be taking place in 2024. He was hunting our women. He goes on the website and he picks them out. He doesn't pick an Asian. He doesn't pick a Latino. He doesn't pick a Caucasian woman. He picks out purposely a black woman. And they have conversation. He knows what he's going to do to her. He's talking to her. He's getting her to let her guards down. And then he does this horrific thing. And they're finding her body parts still. The parents say that they don't know where her head is so that they can have a proper funeral and a proper burial. So as far as us as black men, we just can't be comfortable, man. I'm old enough to know that, it's not really much else. I see us dying for a lot less. So when we see something like this happen, we have to react. These people have to know that they can't do this to our women. They can't do this to our women. Sade Robinson is her name, and I'm just basically raising awareness just, for her mother and her family and for what happened to her. But no,
Wow.
they definitely should not be celebrating that with us. I mean, they set the environment for this kind of stuff. This other guy, like long time ago, not even that long ago, a guy walks into a church and hunts our people in church. and then another guy goes to a grocery store and hunts our people at a grocery store. They hunting us. Yeah, they don't need to be celebrating nothing with us, man. Not at all. Not at all.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that, brother.
Yep.
And is that Sade Sade Robinson?
Yes, Sade Robinson from Milwaukee,
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
Okay. Well, when did this happen, brother?
It happened in April of this year.
Okay.
The
All right.
he's on trial right now and he's trying to plead innocent. And his parents are actually, I mean, they gave him a certain bond and people are afraid that he might actually be able to bond out because his parents have a lot of money. The
And
guy
this
is actually,
man was of the mayonnaise complexion, or?
yes, he was definitely of the mayonnaise complexion. I don't know of any other race of people who do this kind of stuff, but he was of the mayonnaise complexion. And I guess like she grew up in that environment, so they have on TikTok where they have videos of her. She grew up in Milwaukee, so she's comfortable being around them, and she probably dated them before, like it's nothing. But yeah, basically he hunted her, and I just can't imagine what her last moments might have been like.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that, brother, man. I hope everybody heard that. All 169 people in here. I hope y'all heard that. The brothers in here, the sisters in here. lift her voice up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do my research as well. Thank you for sharing that, brother. Everyone that's in B1, post some news clippings in the Discord for us, so we could do some research. But that's quite a tale, man. And we already know the black woman is the least protected. The least protected. There is no system of protection for black women, and women need protection. Women that have any woman in the history of mankind that has lived in proximity to men has always needed a system of protection. Black women do not have a system of protection because the protectors mean to do them harm, and their protectors sometimes become aggressors, but even their protectors that mean them well have no protection for themselves. We can't protect ourselves as black men from the protectors, right? So we definitely, as black men, need to start to raise our voices of our sisters more. He's right. I see us more willing to make excuses and argue than we are to get up and actually stand for something when it comes to our sisters. And I don't think any black man should have something to say about his own plight if he's not also speaking about the plight of his sister. And that's a quote from a scholar that I disagree with constantly, but Bell Hooks is the person I got that from. But yeah, she's somebody that's heavily problematic. I seen your face, Shock. But she did say that, and I think she's right. We shouldn't speak on the plight of black men if we're not also going to speak to our need to dismantle patriarchy and protect our sisters as well, man. Appreciate you, brother. We're going to do some research on that one. TB Tony, give us your age, your race, and your pronouns, please. TB Tony, you're muted. Thank you for tapping like, y'all. We over 100K. Thank y'all for tapping like. I'm gonna get out of here soon, but I gotta let my brother Lab Tech Quan speak to the congregation. TB Tony, you here? TB Tony, we waiting for you. I don't know what kind of fit he got on in this picture. I thought that was a suit. Nah, that's like I don't know. This is the most black man profile picture I ever seen in my life.
This giving very much 90s and early 2000s vibe.
Yeah.
You hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you, brother. Talk to us.
Okay. All right. I'm a 70s baby, straight on 70. And I'm a Negro on my birth certificate. And can I spell my pronoun?
Are you a he, him?
Yeah, I'm a man all day.
All right, talk to us.
All right, cool. I don't think anyone should celebrate that day because it's not a day to celebrate. Because someone gave us that day just to make us happy. And I don't think that's funny. And two, can I say something else? But that's saying we're not trying to be mean or nothing. We'll never be free using their money. Long as we use their money, we always stay under their I don't want to say anything bad because I don't want to be bad or mean to anyone. But we'll never be free using their money. And I think we should come up with our own money and force it on our own selves. We use no one else's money but ours. And if you don't want us to use our money, you can't trade with us or do nothing with us. We should split America in half since they don't want to leave it. 3, we should make our own flag, plant it. 4, in the UN and let them know we governing ourselves because they cannot govern us. We do a crime and they can do the same crime. They get a slap on their wrist. We do time. They let them know they cannot govern us anymore. That's all I have to say.
Okay. What do they call that? The two. Hold on, my bad. The two. Which scholar had that same take? Someone. I think it was Elijah Muhammad, right, where he's talking about the two country solution or
Oh
something
yeah,
like
you
that.
talking about Elijah Muhammad? He basically preached the same thing that brother preached. It's basically separation, like Elijah, like Malcolm, Elijah, call it Farrakhan used to. But you basically just say Elijah because the other three basically learned that basically speaking Elijah Muhammad. That's the first brother I can think of. You know what I'm saying? When I think of like
Yeah.
separation, you know what I'm saying? I know brothers now be trying to preach that, but like to me, the ancestor that like brought that up and made it mainstream in America was Elijah for us.
Yeah. Well,
Oh
I
wait, no,
think
Marcus Garvey. It was Marcus Garvey actually. He preached separation too, kind of.
well,
Not
yeah, I mean separation, but separation here within the United States, I think was Elijah, because I think it's possible. It's just we're still going to need an outside economic power base. Anytime America has had a competing economy, they've destroyed it. Like even the war on drugs was because in the 80s, Yokain was becoming its own currency because as soon as people got their dollars, they would trade it for Yokain. And Yokain was being circulated more than the US dollar. So that's when it became a problem. It was like, oh no, we gotta have a war on these people because y'all are sending American dollars down to the undesirables, the brown people, and we don't like that. So, look at Haiti, you know what I'm saying? Haiti was a competing economy. Anytime competition rises up against the United States, they gotta burn it down. Look at Black Wall Street. Look at Tulsa. Like that's something. But now, if we had our currency backed by African resources, there's nothing they could do about that. There's nothing they could do about that. At that point.
But
So
see, it ain't even just the United States; it's the Western general. Because we seen how the French government did on the ancestor Thomas Sankara, and how Belgium did the ancestor Patrice Lumumba. You know,
right, because that's what they were going to do. And so
yeah.
now, my eyes, we focused on seeing what Ibrahim and the AES is going to do.
See, when the French seen that Sankara vaccinated that many kids in a week, that's when they know, oh yeah, we gotta get him gone.
You hear about what's going on in Burkina Faso?
Oh yeah, I've been reading up about it a lot.
Yeah, he built like 1,500 schools and like he growing gardens. They eating their own food. Like they living good out there. Like so far, so good, man. That brother, shout out to Ibrahim Traore, man. He's doing some miraculous things. And then the gold mines he got set up. We just gonna watch. Yeah, Muammar tried to. Muammar tried and Obama took him down. That's why Obama never be nothing to me. I'm sorry.
Obama was
But
in the first place.
Lab Taekwon, talk to us, brother.
Peace. What's up, man?
Peace. I'm well, man. How are you? Happy
Oh,
Juneteenth.
man. So this might be my first how do I put this? I don't want to say disagreeable, but I'll say a different perspective.
Talk
Right?
to us.
The brother that just spoke, I guess he left the stage, but what he said is what it echoes the sentiment of people like myself that when we talk about Juneteenth and whether, non-black folks should celebrate it, I do default to what the brother said is that the question of whether we should be even celebrating it, right? And in that thought process, I also acknowledge that we do have a tendency in this society to reinvent things and to redefine things, whether, practices, language, food, we do have a tendency to take something foul and try to make it useful. So as I say this, I do leave room that if there's a reinvention of Juneteenth where we redefine it and we transcend its origin, then that I would be willing to accept that and address it in a different way. But in lieu of that not being clear to me at this moment, right? And I'm always open to learn. So if it has been reinvented, then I'm willing to delve deeper. But based on what it is a slap in the face. This idea that these crackers in Texas continued after the Emancipation Proclamation, after the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment to enslaved African people, regardless of the law of their so-called books that, sometimes we have brothers and sisters that talk about Black's law and if you learn the law, and I always default and say these people don't even respect the laws they make for themselves. So I look at this idea that Juneteenth, June 19th, 1865 was a moment of them being devils. And I know for a fact that there's a history in Texas where white folks that are considered liberal throughout the 20th century have participated with Negroes in Texas in celebrating, and they would bring food to events in Texas. So I would put it in the context, do we celebrate, January 1st, 1863, right? Do we celebrate these moments where crackers make concessions? And in that same breath, do we identify the Great Compromise of 1877 that ushered in the end of Reconstruction and the beginning of Jim Crow? What are we looking at? Because from my perspective, everything that they present is tainted and poisonous, and I won't celebrate any of it. And I know the argument often is made, and that's why I say I leave room, I'm a leave a parking space where if it has been reinvented, and if it means more than what it originally meant, then I can be, made to understand that. But exclusively just on a historical perspective, I think it's a very cracker-ass holiday in and of itself. And as it were, when we talk about Black folks in this North American continent, it is heartbreaking to think some of our brothers and sisters that were under the rule of these crackers in Texas were meant to suffer even after many of us and our ancestors, when I say us, fought and killed these crackers to be free and won and were valiant and brave and won, right? Even though that battle in the moment, I would say, just from my perspective, I can't deny the value of that type of victory, to be under the whip and then finally pick up a gun and pop some of them. And you know what I'm saying? You're not going to get
Careful,
hung
laugh,
for it.
Twink. You gonna get us taken down out of here.
No, I'm sorry. I've been trying to use euphemisms, but I don't know how to. Let me just say, in consideration of the type of conflicts that occurred and what enslaved African people endured to be successful in that particular conflict called the Civil War, to think that some enslaved Africans still had to suffer, it's like, are we celebrating that they finally did get what we might call freedom for essentially, what are we talking about here? 9 years, right? Because then once the Great Compromise comes, then all of the rules change, and it basically was a new form of chattel slavery, and it was short-lived. So, from my perspective, just from a historical perspective, Juneteenth, it doesn't mean anything to me. My ancestors aren't from Texas. I can see how maybe if that's the connection you have, it means more. My ancestors are from the Carolinas. We came up north immediately to get away from mayonnaise jars. And I know some brothers and sisters take pride in sticking around with the mayonnaise jars. And, I don't want to get into that, but my ancestors was trying to get up away from them as much as we could. So that being said, I just don't know if it's something that we should be celebrating unless we reinvent it, give it a new meaning, add a deeper understanding of history to it, rather than just glorifying that these mayonnaise jars were able to pull a fast one and keep rolling with the wickedness for an extra couple of years, even after the Emancipation Proclamation, and even to a degree after the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. And I just don't feel like they deserve a pass by us celebrating. It's like Malcolm made the assessment about you stabbed me in the back. If you pull the knife out a little bit, you consider that progress, right? I look at it in that context. So I ask the question more than I make the statement, like, why should we celebrate that at all? And let me say this other thing too, just to throw this. I know you're ready to bounce soon. In terms of our collective, historically, and when I say historically, I mean prehistorically as well. I mean antiquities. I don't mean just the last 1,000 years, 1,500 years. I mean through all of our experiences on this planet, African people have had egalitarian societies, right? The construct of patriarch, matriarch, matrilineal, and patrilineal were never systems based on oppression. They were functional systems, right? And when we understand that embedded in the semiotics of our people, which is often language, cultural practices, the religion, your perspective of nature, all of the things you think are embedded in those things. So the divinity of the Black woman has always been present, even whether you go from West Africa with the Ouagadougou, or you go to East Africa to the Nile Valley with the first dynasty pharaohs. There was always a queen mother, even if there was a male pharaoh sitting on the throne. So I'm very cautious, and not even cautious, I would say I'm extremely aggressive. I reject this construct of patriarchy theory, which was invented by a white woman named Kate Millett, okay? And it is a part of the sexual revolution. Patriarchy theory, it is designed to destroy the nuclear family, right? Anyone can do the research. Google Kate Millett, sexual revolution, okay? And there's some other people you'll probably run into as you look at the literature. But the sexual revolution was designed to disrupt and destroy the nuclear families to overturn society as white people saw it at that time during the 60s. So within that, they also wanted to give the, how do I put, you want me to be careful, the actual liberation of children is embedded in patriarchy theory, okay? This is embedded. It's all a part of it. So when we say patriarchy, I find that to be, and this is why people like Bell Hooks is always my op, God bless her soul.
He is an op.
She's an op because when we deconstruct what these mayonnaise jars have done and their ideas, when we start digging deeper than Max Weber, right? When we start looking at Michel Foucault, Harry Hay, the Mattachine Society, when we start deconstructing everything they did that led to the 1970s, and then we had Kimberly Crenshaw with intersectionality. Then we had Bell Hooks. We had Audre Lorde. We had these cheerleaders for mayonnaise nonsense, which had nothing to do with Black liberation. So I made the statement earlier that our systems have always been egalitarian. The struggle for our ancestors, it wasn't a matter of separating the Black child from the Black woman and the Black man. It is the collective of Black people. I cannot save Black children without saving Black women. I cannot save Black women without saving Black men. I cannot save Black children without saving Black women and men. Implicitly, Black collectivism harkens to African ontology, axiology, and epistemology, where the holistic value is embedded. When we say patriarchy and dismantling it, let's be clear, white women, right, or mayonnaise women, were the most violent to Black women during chattel slavery. There were laws passed that were essentially said that if a mayonnaise woman harmed, am I good? Is that the right word? Harmed, right? Harmed to all the power meter goes to zero. Okay, you know what I'm saying? That they would not be punished for the M word because these women were specifically abusing Black women and Black children. Why? Because many of these enslaved African women were being R-word by white males, and these enslaved African women would have children. These white women would see these children and lash out against them and the women. This is documented specifically in Virginia, where the amount of M-word by white women against Black women specifically was way beyond anything that ever was experienced by Black males from white males, right? So when we start digging deeper, I'm very much aggressive to reject left-wing liberal mayonnaise ideology, because upon further inspection, when we start peeling the layers back, every bird flies with a left and right wing. And often what we've been made to think is that we need an ally from outside of ourselves. So we lean towards the fox instead of the wolf, right? This is what Malcolm said when he described liberals as being a fox that smiles, but they'll still eat you alive. The wolf is going to howl and tell you that's the right wing. So we somehow want to find an ally between a fox and a wolf, instead of saying we must separate from the fox and the wolf and make ourselves allies of each other. Last thing, when we talk about the trajectory from African people that were forcibly brought here, there's always been resistance and there's always been a desire to separate and return home primarily. Returning home was always number one. Making maroon societies in North America and South America, that was the second option. We've seen the literary works by people like David Walker that describe how we would exist in this hemisphere and whether we should repatriate. And then when we get through to the 20th century, we see Marcus Garvey saying repatriation back to Africa is the only answer, right? Obviously, by 1930, we get to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And really, you know, we have to say that Wallace Fard first and then the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But we see this idea of separation. And I want to just emphasize this in closing. The separation geographically is tertiary to the psychological separation. And in any regard, when we talk about separation, the primary objective is to make ourselves self-sufficient intellectually, emotionally, socially, and spiritually. And that process will yield the effects of perhaps negotiating a landmass, which I don't think will ever happen. But at the same time, we exist here in this North American continent. The first priority is separation of the mind and the spirit. And that comes through a process of will. And if we skip that process, it is not about catching a plane to Ghana. It isn't about getting a little homestead in Oklahoma. We will still see the same equation. Hence the reason places like Black Wall Street, we have to be honest about certain things. The turn of the 20th century was the club movement. It was a great deal of assimilation made by Negroes at the turn of the 20th century. Many of those towns that we talk about, their number one priority was proving to white people that they could do what white people did. This is something we don't get into it very much. We don't talk about the boule. We don't talk about the origin of the Divine Nine and how all of this is connected to these versions of formerly enslaved African people trying to cope with the seasoning process after the fact. So I want to just throw those things out there. Maybe there's more questions than there are answers in what I've said.
I got questions. I got questions you didn't touch on so much. I'm trying not to forget them. I'm trying to hold on to them. I don't got the best memory. But, all right. So, who do you think has more power in society? White tea men or white women?
This is going to be funny, right? I would say white women.
How so?
Because they train white children, right? When we look at the this is the question. I understand the perspective of the question, but this is what we have to understand. In an organism that has different appendages, the survival of the organism is the ultimate function of each appendage. So to say which is more important, it's like saying what's more important, the heart or the brain?
More important. I'm talking about which one has more power.
It's like saying
more power.
What has more power, your heart or the veins that are in your body to deliver the blood? Which one is more important?
The heart.
Well, when you put it in those terms, it doesn't make sense, right? Because the heart without veins is useless. Veins without a heart is useless.
No, I understand that they're interdependent, but I'm saying power or at least my understanding of power is defined by, the ability to enact on your will. You know what I'm saying? Like the military might can give you the power to conquer nations. Economic power gives you the might to be able to move about freely as you see fit. So, you know, in terms of power, that that the ability to express or exert your will on others, who do you feel has that power more,
Right.
white
And that's why I
people or
say
white
the
people?
white woman, because the first thing you said was will. So before action, like we all know the cliche, mind over matter, right? Everything begins with a thought before an action, right? We do we agree on that?
Mind over matter. The
There's a
first,
thought before there's an action. There's no action in a vacuum. Like we don't just behave for no reason, because there's a reason for everything white folks do.
right?
So the reason for violence emanates from the training of the child. The white child, and we see evidence of this. Like, consider it like this. If you say, let's go comic book, Professor X runs the X-Men. Is Wolverine more powerful than him because he has claws? If your argument is about who physically has the most power, that's different. But the individual that dictates the agenda, because preservation of the white woman has caused more lynching of black men than anything else. A white woman's lie has done more than anything to destroy black men in this country. What
Right.
we've
But
seen is, and in
what I'm
this day and age, what we see now, what dictates value is the will of the white woman. And the white male is her emissary for that will. Because at the end of the day, even when we look at Roe versus Wade being repealed, the reason it was repealed is because they have the lowest birth rate on the planet. And they're on a course to go extinct in the next 100 years, right? Because your infant mortality rate is too high and your birth rate is too low. So there's a certain genetic imperative that is centered on the woman. And the woman is genetically not just for white folks, but for everybody, right? So when we understand that that white woman is the first teacher of that white male and that other white woman, we understand that primarily, right? And then we see every agenda that has been named to be reparative for black folks in this country. At the end of the equation, who is benefit from it? Who benefit from affirmative action? After all of the martyrs that died during the civil rights movement, all the way up until the Civil Rights Act of 65 and 68, who, after all the dust settled and all the blood dried, who benefit the most from it?
I hear you, and
White woman.
I'm a
So,
student of Tommy J. Curry. We can get into the white tea woman's role, and
not to lose that. I just want to bring it home and anchor it or land it, as they say. My point is that in analyzing a collective, I think one of the mistakes that's often made is that white people are masters of deception. So they introduced these constructs of feminism and gender inequality. They introduced these constructs, but they introduced them at a certain point of history. They didn't exist throughout all history. When we look at the matriarchs of European countries, right, the powers that determine when exploration would begin, women were involved, right? They weren't placeholders. That's a myth that is often used in this society, because when white people are able to form a victim group out of themselves, they leverage that victim group against the real victims. It's an okie doke. When we talk about the queens of Europe, let them eat cake. That is not a powerless person. That is a person that has the will to say she don't care about you. When Isabel married Ferdinand, this is what initiates exploration for the Spanish. This is what initiates what will become the Treaty of Tordesillas, right? So I think what happens is we separate the white man and the white woman because they chose to do that after the Reconstruction. That's a 20th century phenomena. That wasn't an issue for them internally. Even when they were fighting for suffrage, their leverage against women having the vote was to say, well, these Negro males have the vote. And at the same time,
Now, see, now you're getting into Tommy J. Curry's book, and this is what I'm telling you. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying
okay.
on the actual timeline, the story. You're also speaking to something where I guess it's from kind of a different perspective. I'm mad at the camera not working, but yeah. So,
I would say
what you're saying, Tommy J. Curry talks about in his book, man. Not, and we were watching a clip where he was explaining it on Sunday in our meeting, where he talks about how the white tea woman made white tea supremacy look like it was the man's idea, and that she, was helpless and just an innocent bystander. There's another book called "They Were Her Property," outlines
Yeah,
that
exactly. I mean,
40%.
it's hyper documented, but what I'm saying to you is,
Mhm.
in a power dynamic where you're talking about collectives, because for the most part,
But I'm talking
black
about.
folks, we don't
I
understand
understand.
collectivism.
No, I do. I understand a lot
No,
of
I'm not
what you're
saying you. I'm
saying.
saying
I
we,
wish
meaning
I wish
like
we could
all of
start
us.
with the understanding, but I don't understand you don't know what I understand. So I'm cool with that. But I'm saying with all of that you said, like I agree, you pointed out different areas. However, the ability to exert will is the definition of power that I'm speaking to, and white women have not shown the ability to exert will on those men, but those men have shown the ability to exert their will on those women.
Well, I
Now,
mean, that's subjective though, right? Because because my perspective is always through empirical data, and
mhm.
I don't use anecdotal information to make an assessment, right?
Okay,
So
so how do
when
you
we
explain the Salem witch trials? How do you
Salem witch
explain?
trials were only specific women. It wasn't all women. And they were also, and this is the other part, see, this is what I mean by empirical data. There were also accusations of male warlocks that were killed in that time. There were also killings of
Mhm.
Christians, right? Literally, Europe had a habit leading up to the 100-Year War and the 30-Year War that didn't end until 1648 with the Treaty of Westphalia. So they've had patterns of behavior where they've killed each other, male, female, and child.
Unalived.
Oh, I'm sorry, unalived. That is their pattern, right? When
Mhm.
we look at, say, for instance, who degrades their woman the most, then obviously the mayonnaise people degrade them the most. But see, this is the point that I'm making. Because you degrade someone within a power structure does not mean that they don't operate and have power in that power structure, because the determination of agency, when you say power, you relegate it to a more physical perspective. To me, power is the ability to change someone's mind. If I could control your actions with my mind, that to me is real power.
I believe that plays a part, but I don't believe that makes them more powerful. I believe that plays a part. I believe, the steering wheel of a car is just as important as the engine,
I can
but
agree with
at the
that. I
same
can agree with
time,
that.
I think the engine is more powerful because,
Well, you could say, well, power being defined based on what? The car going? Well, to me,
yeah,
power again,
the ability to exert force. The
but see, this is
engine
the
creates
difference.
force. The
From
the
my
steering
perspective,
wheel only guides the force. So
right.
yes,
So
you're going to have the masculine and the feminine sides of the oppressive group. However, when it comes down to who has the ability to exert force on and their will on other people, it has empirically been white men. I don't know how we get around that.
well, this is the problem with that analysis, right? And this is again why we have to deal with empirical data, because white women, by a metric that we can't even begin to compare, predominantly deal with the medical industrial complex and the educational industrial complex. So that means women and children. So white males are primarily the power that you're describing against black males.
But here's
But
the
in
other
the
thing.
context, wait, hold up. In the context to when we talking about from birth throughout primary and secondary school, it's white women. So we can't just ignore that, because
I
when we
know
take
all it, brother.
a
I
deeper
know all of this
dive,
stuff.
when we
Yeah.
take a deeper dive, the historical aspect says that the murder, I'm sorry, I'm not used to this type of filtering, that the unaliving of black children was not the work of white men. The unaliving of enslaved African women was not the work of white men. It was white women. So now we have to be real about it. If we're going to say physically who has the strength, obviously white males. But when we realize white males were not lynching or unaliving little kids in the way that they did adults, that wasn't the day-to-day interaction. That's not what it was. That's not the dynamic of proximity that you mentioned earlier. It doesn't cease to function in this
But here's
context.
my thing. Here's my thing, right? Even though most white T women are anti-abortion, most white T women are still for Trump. You know, who is a man.
No, most
In
of
the
them aren't
minds, in the
anti-abortion.
minds,
That's not
in
true.
the, what?
Most of them aren't. That's not true.
Oh, my bad. Okay, I might have got that wrong. But the largest protest in the past, what? It was even larger than Black Lives Matter.
That's like the loudest. That doesn't mean it's the most, though. See,
Okay,
that's one of the
all right.
things we run into.
Okay,
That
all right.
we
I'll
can't say that.
concede that. I'll concede that, brother, because I don't have the Google in front of me. But what I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, it's been shown that in the minds of many white T women, at least 40% of them, white T men are in charge. So that's where I'm like, I don't know, because in a room, when someone says the man is coming, you know I mean the authority figure. And if I say the woman is coming, you're not going to think of it that way, because even in our Eurocentric understanding of gender, we see the man as in charge. It's a cultural norm at this point. So how can we say that the idea, even if you want to deny the existence of patriarchy, the idea of patriarchy, you said the ability to control minds is what makes power. So the idea of patriarchy has influenced all the areas of people activity, same as
That's not what
you know.
patriarchy is, brother. I have to interrupt you, because when you say patriarchy, that just simply means male leadership. You're talking about patriarchy theory.
I'm not talking about male leadership.
Because a matrilineal patriarchy means that a woman, see, this is what I'm saying. A matrilineal patriarchy means that women make decisions and the males execute those decisions. This is anthropological structure. I'm not making nothing up, brother. I'm telling you something that's like, it's set in stone. So when we deal with anthropology and we look at different societal structures, that's one conversation. When we talk about feminist theory, patriarchy theory is something else. They're not the same. So patriarchy theory makes no accommodation. It doesn't address matrilineal patriarchies. In a matrilineal patriarchy, the line of succession to the throne only comes through mitochondrial DNA, which means that the king can never have his son on the throne. It can only be given to his sister's son. And even in the African context, this means that we see this all over the continent, where there is a group of women that make decisions and the men act out the decisions. This isn't rare. This isn't
I
an
understand
exception.
that
This is
might
the
be.
standard. This is
I
norm. This is
understand,
the norm.
brother. I understand that might be, and I'll concede to that might be the reality. But what I'm saying is, culturally, in the West, and you know, the West was created by ancient Rome all the way down to today. The West, if I say a man and a woman is in a room together, who do you think is the boss? People will tend to say the man has the more ability to exert power over the woman than the other way around. Even if it's not physically, people are going to see the authority figure in that room as the man. So I'm saying
I disagree.
you don't.
I disagree, and I'll tell you why.
So actually,
Being
what I would
married
just
to a
say.
woman, right? if you're married to a woman, and I'm gonna take it a different direction to try to bring it back to the core argument that we're really trying to have. If you're married to a woman, right, behind closed doors, anyone that's been married, I'm talking about in real life, not theory. I'm talking about real life.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to accommodate that woman to have peace in your home? Does
So
her will?
what I would just say, I would say that there's
Happy wife,
power
happy
in
life?
both areas.
Is it happy wife, happy life, or no?
Yeah, but family, I would say that there's power in. Okay, I would say that immediately we're seeing that YT men more so have that power, that immediate ability to be able to make that action or take that action, whereas YT women essentially are prevented from getting access to that. Whereas
I disagree.
when it comes down to the fundamental,
Wait,
when it
hold
comes
on.
down to the
You
beginnings
guys
of
are
the,
saying fundamentals,
when it
but you're
comes,
not dealing
hold on,
with
hold on,
who is
family,
teaching little
hold on,
white boys.
family, hold on. When it comes
Who
to
is
the
teaching little
beginning
white boys that
parts,
they should rule the world?
well, hold on, family. When it comes to the beginning parts of like the raising and what trajectory of the culture is going to have, or what trajectory that child is going to have, absolutely, YT women very much so control that dynamic.
So what are we talking about?
I'm just saying that at the end of the day, YT women control where the culture is going, where the mind frame, where the mindset is going. Whereas when they're grown up, YT men hold the power. That's the reason why they created the construct of patriarchy.
And that's
in the
what
first
I
place.
initially
So
said.
it's like both. So both you are correct, but also Brother Legend is correct at the same time. It's just that it's a different type of power dynamic that you're both referring to. So that's
I
all.
identified that, but what I'm saying is when we talk about a collective, to make the argument which one is more powerful is a mistake. The reason I say that is very clear and simple. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. What I'm simply stating is all family structures propagate the ideologies of a society. The family unit, this concept of the nuclear family didn't begin in Europe. Nuclear being the most central portion of an organism, the mother, father, and child. The ideals, the mores, the semiotics are all passed from the parents. However, since we were gatherer hunters on this planet, the duty of passing down the primary mindset of a child that eventually becomes an adult has been the duty of the woman. Europeans, mayonnaise people, are no exception to that, but they are very clever. So they've introduced a discourse that suggests that somehow within this dynamic that is universal to all human beings, that they are victims of their own power structures that they benefit from. But yet when they choose to weaponize that same power structure, they may or may not be the one holding the gun. My statement is very simple. I say mind over matter. If you, and this goes for black folks too, if your ability is to change the minds of black folks to awaken them to do what they need to do to be free, that is the highest level of power. Arguably, someone else could say, well, real power is having the money to do anything you want. That to me is not the same measure of power. White males getting angry and taking tiki torches and joining the police force and executing acts of violence, to me, that's symptomatic of the foundation they've been trained in, which is primarily by their mothers. Not the father in any context of a society typically is outside of the house more than inside of the house. The child is, until they reach a certain level of maturation, are more impacted by the mother. That's the nature of our species. So what happens, and the reason I'm so ardent about this is because when you make the argument that somehow one is greater than, stronger than, powerful than the other, it in some way creates a hierarchy separate from white supremacy as a collective. Because
that's not following the teachings of Neely Fuller Jr. and Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. That's where you're losing me.
No,
because
you'd have to,
like this,
respectfully, you'd have to cite to me how, when we understand the 9 areas of activity, and when we deconstruct the family as a part of those 9 areas, what we have to do is be able to dissect what exactly is a family and what are the roles of the individuals in a family, whether for our side or their side. We have to be able to define that. And once we are clearly able to define
I feel like the code clearly defines it. And that's the thing.
So we know that, okay, so the role of the woman is the primary teacher of the child.
I understand that, but that does not
the
make her
child
more
takes what they
powerful.
learn into
That doesn't,
adulthood.
but that doesn't make her more powerful in a society. Like, I hear what you're saying.
I
Like,
think it's semantics. I think we probably agree.
who is more? Hold on, brother. You hold on. Who is more powerful, the cook or the person eating? Like, I hear what you're saying. The cook is more powerful because the cook is the one feeding the person that's eating, but the person that eating is more powerful because they were the person that ordered the other person to cook. So I hear you, but the thing what I'm saying though is, despite everything you said, the idea that patriarchy exists makes it real. The idea that patriarchy exists makes it oppressive, and it makes it intrinsically part of white supremacy,
That's
regardless
false.
of
Because they have
who
a
you think
version
has the
of
power.
they have a version of, and they have their own version of an egalitarian society where they misnomer it, right? Because if you do the math, right, we have to understand, if patriarchy is inherently exclusively the mechanism, right, then that in and of itself would say, okay, so oppression comes from patriarchy. So in and of itself, who's been running black households for the last 400 years?
Running black, like, I mean, it
Who's
depends,
been
because
running black
we're so
households for the
deep at
last
this
400
point. I don't
years?
know if you mean the white man
And
or
no,
if
I'm
you
saying,
mean.
well, I said black households. So who's been running black households for the last 400 years?
I would still say the greater system at large, the system of
No.
racism,
I said
white supremacy.
household. Household is the micro. You're talking about a macro.
Okay, so
Household
that's
is
what I was saying. I
that's a
don't know how
micro.
deep we're getting. All right,
Well,
so
household, that's very clear language.
if you want to talk about familial, structures and how we come together as a community, the black
Household.
woman,
Is it who's been running the household?
black women.
Okay. So in absence of a patriarchy, what has been the benefit that we've received?
From
Because the
patriarchy.
idea is to wait a minute, hold on. I'm asking a real simple question. The idea is to suggest that the problem in and of itself is patriarchy. But in absence of it, we've been worse than we were before, when we were Wagadu, Mali, Songhai, matrilineal patriarchies that were very successful. Now we have no patriarchy and we're trash. I'm confused at how we can make the argument that the problem is patriarchy.
All right, see, now I see what you're saying. Okay, so I don't believe black men have a patriarchy.
Well, my point is, patriarchy ain't the issue, because at the end of the day, when, like, the thing is,
When I'm
I'm
thinking
trying
of
to
patriarchy,
give you
listen,
something
man,
to work with, right? I'm
but
trying to
but
give
hold
you
on, let
something
me
after
define
this
patriarchy.
conversation. You can research it.
Let me
I don't want
define.
it to be just my word.
I want to define patriarchy for the context of this conversation where I'm coming from. You might have a different.
Okay, okay, go ahead, because I
So
understand what you meant,
I want to say
but
what
I
I'm
didn't mean
speaking
what you meant.
from is, the patriarchy is the idea that men naturally possess or have the ability to exert will over women or
That's
exert
male
their.
chauvinism. That's something else. See?
Okay, you see what I'm saying? Semantics,
But
but
there's a
I'm
reason.
saying.
Wait a minute, hold up. Please just bear with
All
me.
right, so
Please.
I'll use
Bear with me.
I'll
I know I'm
use
talking a lot, but it's valuable. The reason that you didn't say male chauvinism, which
But
throughout the
brother, you don't let
50s
me
and
finish
60s,
not one thing. You notice that? Like, I know you
because
well
I've repeated
educated, so.
myself and you haven't heard what I'm saying. I've said the same thing, but you haven't said, oh, that's what you meant. What I'm saying to you is, patriarchy theory was invented by a white woman named Kate Millett in the 60s. When the term you just described, it was called male chauvinism. That is something different than patriarchy theory. Patriarchy theory says that you no longer need to have a male in the household to raise children. Patriarchy theory says the male is the oppressor of women and
Brother,
children. That's what
but
I mean.
brother,
That's what
that
it is.
I'm speaking to the Webster definition of patriarchy,
You can,
where men hold a
if you use a
position of power.
descriptive definition
Hold
or you
on,
use a
brother.
prescriptive, they're
Come
not the
on,
same,
man.
bro.
Even people in the comments saying, "Just let me finish the point, brother." I'm not trying. I'm go back and forth with you. I'm just trying to just explain my point real quick. the patriarchy in the definition that you look up what the definition means. It says a system of power where men have power, where men are in control, and women are excluded from it. That's all I'm talking about. I'm talking about a system of power where women are excluded from that power. So when I listen, I'm sure someone wrote a nice long book and they defined it in their own, intersectional ways and use a lot of syllables in that book, I'm sure. But I'm just saying a system of power where women are excluded from power. That's all I'm talking about. So when I'm talking about patriarchy as an idea has penetrated and influenced society to a point where we have to deconstruct that teaching. When our ancestors walked off the plantation on Juneteenth, the only idea of a family that they had was their oppressor's idea of a family, where
That's
the
not true,
man
bro.
runs the house.
That's not true.
That is true.
That's
What do
false.
you? They didn't
That's
have the
false.
African teaching.
That's false.
So
See,
what
this
they
is
had?
why.
They
Okay,
had their
so
African cultures.
what I'm trying to do is help you understand a few things. Like when you Google a definition, right? There's two types of dictionaries: a descriptive dictionary and a prescriptive dictionary.
I do know this.
So hold on. So hold on. Descriptive dictionaries will give you a definition as people use the word. It doesn't mean that that's the authentic
And that's what
definition.
I was trying to say is the
So what
difference
I'm
between
saying
what
is,
I'm
hold on.
saying and what you were saying.
I hear
I'm
you.
talking about I'm talking about patriarchy in the way that we are using the word. I'm not
Right.
talking
So
about
you're
some book
using the
written in
word
the
based on
1800s.
patriarchy theory. I'm telling you that the origin of that definition where
But
women
I'm
are
also
excluded.
not saying dismantle patriarchy as in black men need to have less power in the home. That's
Well, the
not the
point
same
I'm
thing.
making to you, the
I'm
point
speaking
I'm
with nuance. I'm saying the idea of patriarchy has the idea of patriarchy as a system of power that excludes women is something that a lot of black men identify with as part of their masculinity and manhood in the context of white supremacy, because we've been taught our
I hear
definition
what
of
you're
manhood
saying,
from
but
our
respectfully,
oppressor.
all right. So
We have
I'm not.
lost the definitions of manhood of the Songhai and the people that you mentioned, the Yoruba land. Like we've lost that definition. So we picked up the Europeans' definition, and whether they do it or not, we as black men have believed it, and we've shown that. I'm not talking about inherently as black men. I'm talking about certain black men have believed that because, of course, the culture that we've grown up in has been one to survive and one based on what we grew up watching as part of our oppressor. We were taken from our customs and our traditional meaning of manhood. So yes, black men do have to repatriate back to the African customs of ways of doing things. The matrilineal patriarchy. I hear you. I know about all these customs, but I'm saying we have been stolen from these customs, and it is our duty to remember to put a woman in a place where we can regard them as equally powerful. I know you've been around black men
You gotta
long
let me
enough
say
to know
something,
when
bro.
you in a
I'm
barber
listening, but
shop.
I hear you talking, but bruh, you're talking at me, and you're not hearing what I'm saying. And everything you said, I'm not disagreeing.
I'm not disagreeing with
The
nothing you
question,
saying, and I
well, just
also
give
feel
me
like
give
you're
me
not
give
hearing
me
what
a
I'm
chance to
saying.
repeat
But
what I've already said.
I
All
also
right.
wanted to get onto the other topic where you said we should not celebrate Juneteenth, because that's really what I wanted to go with this. Because that's the thing. I don't think we have to
So
redefine
my
June.
question, I have to say, when new information is introduced, how we respond to it will determine how we learn, right?
I know that,
So
brother. I say that all the time.
let me just give me a chance. Just give me a chance. I'm not your
I
enemy.
gave you a lot of
So
chance, bro. I've been trying to go to
but
sleep.
what I'm saying,
I just
if
wanted to.
you don't want me to finish a thought, every time I say something, you interject, and then when I keep going, I'm wrong. But you
Bruh,
just
I
said,
let
you
you
made your
talk for
point.
mad
What I'm
long.
saying is very simple. When we use the rhetoric of the oppressor, patriarchy theory, you will not find any black people that work for the liberation of black people talking about patriarchy before the 1960s, period. let's cut the fat. Let's get right to it. Let's get to business, right?
Well, hold
We
up,
do
family.
not find
Let's
that
just
in any example.
let's
There
put a
is
pin
no
in this.
black liberation
All right,
rhetoric.
hold up, family. Hold on. Let's put a pin in this for later because it's Juneteenth. Well, technically, depending on the side of the U.S. that you're on right now, it's Juneteenth. The last thing that we're trying to do is be up here, debating about. Yeah,
We're not debating,
right now.
bro.
Unification of us.
It's one
I
of two
wish
right
we
things.
could have this
right now,
conversation
It's one of two things. Either I'm bringing
Yeah.
something that's new, or I'm bringing something that's wrong. It can't be.
Okay,
nah.
understood.
So
That's
where we
not.
have
But
to land, I think, for it to be
And we're getting right back
equitable,
into it.
to be equitable, for us to grow, it has to be a point of saying, if I've introduced something new and you have not had enough time to research it, we shouldn't go back and forth this much about it.
Okay, so then that
So
also accounts for you
that's what
too,
I've been
brother.
saying the
I'm
whole
not saying,
time.
listen,
And
brother, I'm not saying, listen, that
because I'll
goes
never
for
say
all
another
of
word
us.
again. I'll disappear. Like, I'm not trying to, like, that's
No, we're
not my
not
game.
saying that you
I
need to
don't do this.
disappear, family. We're not
But
saying that. We're
if I
just saying that,
finish
like,
a
right now
thought,
we
I
could just
don't
put a
have to
pin in
repeat a
it.
thought unless it's being
We could
missed.
just put a pin in it and then get back to it later. Because I mean, Red Light
What
just
are
got
we
to go to
putting a
sleep.
pin in?
I was gonna have the conversation at a different time.
What is the pin being
Like
put
right
in?
now, this
What
very
is the
moment,
conversation?
family, right now, this very moment,
I
trying to
got you.
drill it so hard is not helping it land. It's not helping it land, family. I'm not saying that
So can I make a
in any way.
conclusion? If you're going to put a pin in it, can I conclude? Because the message that I'm
It's
trying
up
to
to
get
Brother Legend if
across,
he wants to.
because look, from my role as a professor working with black students that are in college, the sexual revolution has wiped out black studies through all universities. So when I hear anybody I consider a brother or sister using the rhetoric of the most insidious tactic to destroy the minds of black youth that are matriculating through higher education, I find it to be a point where it needs to be addressed. So I'm being very clear. I am saying SDS, the sexual revolution, Kate Millett, Harry Hayes, Michel Foucault, Max Weber, the works that these people created specifically in the 50s and 60s led to what we see right now, where you have less than 100 black studies programs when during the 70s and 80s there was over 1,000. All of these programs now are sexual studies. This is not an accident. This isn't some theory. This is a fact. So when we say patriarchy, that should not be in the rhetoric of anyone dealing with black consciousness. If we say egalitarian, we say black woman, black man, black child. We don't need to make special accommodations for justice. Justice is universal. If I treat the black woman as I want to be treated, if I treat the black child as I want to be treated, I don't need to borrow from crackers ideas that they used to divide us. I'm being very pinpoint accurate in why this is not something I'm willing to let
brother,
go of.
I'm not disagreeing with that,
But
but
that
I'm
was my
not
point from
talking
the
about
beginning.
that when I
And
say
then final and last
patriarchy,
thing I'll say on that,
and
the
that's the
question you asked,
confusion in this whole. That's
no,
the
it's not
confusion in this
confusion.
whole
The
thing.
question, the
I'm
point of
not
departure,
disagreeing with you.
I'm not
I don't
saying,
disagree with you
brother,
on
I'm not
that. The
saying,
only thing
okay,
I'm not talking about that when I'm talking about patriarchy. I'm talking about systems of power where women are excluded from power. I don't know what words you got for
black
that. Male
women have
chauvinism.
more power than black men, though. That's
I'm
why.
not saying I say the
So what's
opposite
your
of that, bro. You
point?
must be new to my platform. You
No, I'm
must be
not. I'm
new to my
saying that
platform, bro.
the
I
argument
would
you
never say
made,
that.
the argument you made is upside down because
You
for
haven't
our,
let me. You
for,
haven't even let me make an argument, bro.
bruh, we do not have black patriarchies that dictate to black women what they do and
I
don't do.
never said that, bro.
So you said that there are black men that operate like this. Either they are an exception to the rule or they're the rule.
You have
Which one is it?
Family, just
he don't.
okay.
He not
People are
listening,
sending
bro.
up the Panther paws. People are sending up the Panther paws, and they've
All
already
right.
sent multiple Panther paws. So yeah, we have to. That's a part
It's
of
a
the rule
shame, man.
of the live.
All right. Well,
Yeah, it's
I don't
not a
feel that
rejection
way.
of you, brother. It's just yeah. Let's bring it back to Juneteenth. Let's bring it back
Well,
to.
I got mad love for Lab Tech Quan, man, because that brother knows what he's talking about. I'm not saying that he don't know. That brother knows what he's talking about, and I think we just was missing each other just now. I think it was a communication barrier. That brother knows what he's talking about. I would even encourage people to have more conversations with him. He knows what he's talking about. He's not lying. And we talk about it all the time. There is no hierarchy of oppression and that black people are at the bottom together. The black man is not above the black woman. The black woman is not above the black man. We are all prisoners of war. We are male and female prisoners of war. This is what Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. says. That's period, point blank. Anybody that has a lack of understanding of that nuance, that has internalized that idea of intersectionality, then that's you falling down the feminism pipeline. And according to Tommy J. Curry, feminism is something that was built to support white supremacy and actually helped create it in the first place. We can talk about that another time. But at the end of the day,
I mean, everything he was saying, like, you know, I could definitely tell that
he was
very
using
much
facts.
so. He was on point with a lot of everything.
On point. So I'm not
Yeah.
disagreeing, but I just felt like that was a different conversation than what I originally brought up patriarchy for. When I was talking about dismantling patriarchy, I was not talking about black men. I was talking about the white T man and his system of racism. Because at the end of the day, the white T man, like Dr. Frances Cress Welsing talks about black men, she says that the man has the ability to impose sex. That right there makes the man more powerful than the woman. The man has the ability to oppose violence. The man has the ability to impose sex. That's all I'm talking about, is on that fundamental level. And then it goes up from there, where the white T man is the one that got on them ships and sailed across the world and colonized people and pointed pew-pews at our ancestors and forced them into slavery. The white T woman, of course, benefited from it, was complicit, helped him right by his side, helped cheer him on all along, helped actually owned people as property herself, actually encouraged him to go do more, actually maybe probably came to there is the woman that came to Nigeria and was as part of the reason that the name of Nigeria is the name Nigeria is because of a love letter from a foster female to a man. So yes, they did take part. They were complicit. They were active in the colonization of Africa and the oppression of our people. But at the same time, when it comes to their societies and their social constructs, the man is still seen at the top. In the black community, the man is not at the top. We know this. I was not saying that we're the same as them, but everything that man was saying was also facts. I wanted to talk really about Juneteenth, and then I got to go to sleep because it's way past my bedtime. I didn't mean to be up here that long, but I don't like cutting people off. Juneteenth is not a holiday. Juneteenth is not a holiday to celebrate black liberation. It is a holiday that commemorates the ending of race-based chattel slavery in the United States as an institution. It still continues. We understand the prison industrial complex. We still understand the marginalization black men receive as far as getting employment. We understand medical racism. We still understand that race-based systemic oppression still exists. However, the institution of slavery, and when our people found out that the institution of slavery had crumbled, was something that was celebrated. And I believe it is something that can still be celebrated. The question I ask anyone that says we should not have a celebration for the crumbling of the institution of slavery is, do you believe your oppressor gave you freedom, or do you believe your ancestors fought for that freedom? Which one do you believe? That's what I want to know. I want to know, do you believe it's a gift by your oppressor, or do you believe that your ancestors endured the most harsh treatment ever in mankind's history and then had the uprising in the German coast, had the uprising in the Nat Turner Rebellion, had the Haitian Revolution? And do you believe that those conditions are the reason why we have the dismantling of systemic enslavement that existed for 339 years, crumbling and no longer here? If the reason that you believe we no longer are in chattel slavery in the United States is because your ancestors did the work, then you can celebrate Juneteenth. If you believe the white man had a change of heart and freed your people, then no, you should not be celebrating Juneteenth. The mass media wants you to believe that the white man had a change of heart and freed your people. And so you should be grateful for that, and you should celebrate that. That is not Juneteenth. That is not the Juneteenth I celebrated as a child. That is not Juneteenth. The Juneteenth we celebrated was that we fought for this shit, and Abraham Lincoln was too afraid that we was gonna free every goddamn body if they didn't put on paper that we was free. And so he decided to make the symbolic gesture of, quote unquote, making the Emancipation Proclamation so that we felt like America had a change of heart, but they did not. The reason they had that, quote unquote, Emancipation Proclamation was because our ancestors fought to free us. So when it comes to that, I believe Juneteenth is a holiday we can celebrate if you see it as the day that your ancestors survived and fought hard to get to. It is, I look back and I think of the first Juneteenth, and I think of all those ancestors that threw their hands in the air and thanked God and thanked the ancestors and thought of all the people that came before them. That's all I celebrate on Juneteenth. I don't know what y'all celebrating, but that's what I'm celebrating. All right, I gotta go to sleep. One love.
So,
Peace, Lab Tech Quan.
I wanted to try to get this in.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna try to get it in like mad long ago, but but hold on, let me move out the way. This is shit. All right, so everybody, our African family over in the Congo needs our assistance, and all of these creators are also helping in doing just that, providing that assistance. So I want everybody to take a good look at what's on the screen right now. Screenshot it. Those are the links to the GoFundMe. That's the link to Focus Congo if you need to donate. Well, yeah, definitely donate what you can to that. Our African family over the Congo need our help ASAP. So everybody that's listed right there. Oh, sorry, brother. What were you saying?
No, I said yes, sir. Ashe.
So everybody, yep, absolutely. Yep. So screenshot, and then go back, follow all the creators, go to the links, donate what you can, all that fun jazz.
All right, y'all. I gotta go to sleep. Don't be ashamed of your ancestors. Ashe to the ancestors. We pour libations, and we say Ashe. We say Ashe for Juneteenth, for all those that chose the ocean over the plantation, that chose the ocean over the slave ship, for all those that chose to go to war so that Haiti could be free, and scare France back to the other side of the world so that America could see that this was a system that was not going to be to their benefit much longer. That's the reason we celebrate Juneteenth. That's the reason I celebrate Juneteenth. I don't see that as a redefining. I see that as the original definition, and I feel like America has tried to redefine it since, especially since 2020. But I'm out. One love. I'll talk to y'all next time. It was a good conversation.